so that we can give space for questions which you have had from there. And I will give right now the floor to my colleagues here. Ms. Shaini.
Thank you, Mr. Azima. As Minister Azima introduced me, we are in the head of the All Party Talks, chair of All Party Talks. As you know, after this incident or the 1st of February order from the Supreme Court, there is and there have been some political dissimilarities amongst the parties, and even before that. And as soon as the further created some differences between, again, with the political parties, President Yamin initiated a party dialogue that we have tried even in the past. Immediately we send out the invitation to all parties at the time to see if the parties are willing to come to the table to negotiate with the government and the parties that is more pro-government as well. But unfortunately, like before, the opposition parties did not respond to the government's call, and keeps giving statements in the media, various statements. And yesterday I gave out a press brief with details of what has happened until now. And if you had been following that, you would know that the government have for a 12th time invited the opposition to come to the table to negotiate if there are any differences. Why I say if there are any differences is because so far they have not submitted any issues that they want to discuss. And whenever we have been able to get something from the opposition, that has always been to the nature of personal interest of individual peoples involved, like the President Nasheed, Qasim Ibrahim, or the others who are involved, who were involved in these cases. So we had an open letter sent to the President office recently, and yes, I mentioned yesterday some of the claims by the opposition that the government have denied the access or the participation of UN is totally a lie. It's not true, and we have clarified it again yesterday. Some of the claims that the position of the government has been different, conflicting with regard to the UN participation. That is not the case. Never have the government given a statement otherwise to the status or to the stand that we have, that it is President Yamin who invited the opposition parties as well as the UN to facilitate these talks or the proximity talks before even the party talks can happen. And he still, and the government as a whole, is of this on the stand that we welcome UN's participation. To put a little bit more into that, we have also invited, or we welcome EU's participation in this dialogue as well, because the government have nothing to hide. We are very open and transparent in this process. And you would know from our statement that we have been trying to get opposition. Something more to add would be yesterday's announcement that regardless of this deadlock between the parties and officially not having agreed to meet, there were communications between the opposition through President Nasheed recently after the incident of February 1st through a mediator to talk, and documents were exchanged. Agenda was discussed up and down. But then there was an agreement of confidentiality that we don't talk about this until we have an agreement to a path or a road towards party dialogue, which did not happen. But then breaching that contract or agreement, the opposition parties gave a press conference on the 15th of February saying, putting a lot of preconditions to the talks, which the government have always insisted that. And also I note that the Commonwealth, even though we are not part of it now, but during the process where we were in the agenda of the Commonwealth, the international parties, including the UN, were involved in the Maldives with the proximity talks, and have decided and have put a statement out as well that if the party dialogue can happen, that will be with a compromise of all parties to give up all preconditions and come to the table without any preconditions. So with that, I think I will also stop with the details and wait for your questions. But then let me pass the floor to my colleague, Tourism Minister, Mr. Zamir.
Thank you, Minister. And yeah, once again, welcome to the Maldives. And I think you would have seen how the country is right now. And I think a state of emergency has actually been seen by some of the international community as something which would be different from what you would have seen, because it's really concentrating. I think whatever issue is there, it is in the capital here, and then again, we are not having mass demonstrations or anything like that. It's a coup which has been planned by the judiciary rather. So I think it's something different. So we continue to tell our visitors that the country is peaceful, and the islands which the visitors visit has not impacted of this. And I think that numbers, the arrivals has not been, but now I think we are okay. And again, I would also like to add to the fact that these 4 years we have had made tremendous growth in the tourism industry, as well as other parts of the other sectors of the economy. If you look at the tourism sector, we have had arrival growth over 7% consecutive 4 years. I think if you take the average, it will be over 7%. And also we have tremendous infrastructure growth, both from the private sector as well as government. Because I think one of the bottlenecks when we took over the government was actually the critical infrastructure needed for the expansion of the numbers, which we were, at that point, we were looking at figures like 1 million tourists, but now we have passed 1.3 million, and then we continue to grow in major infrastructure projects like the regional airports, and the Malé International Airport has been developed. And within, I think if you look at the last 4 years, you would see assassination attempts on the president, and then also coups, and then whatnot. I think with all this, we have been able to sustain the growth, and at the end of the year, I think we anticipate the GDP to be somewhere at 9,000, between 9,500 and 10,000, and we believe the national reserve could go up to 600 million at the end of the year. So we have had fantastic 5 years, but I mean, with the challenges we were having. If you go back to 2012, and similar difficulties were there, but I think during that time you saw a lot of arson and torching of public property, and then the president resigned and went away, and the next day there was. So we wanted to make sure that this don't happen this time. So the government has been able to contain largely, even the assassination attempt has been contained, and we are following the due process, like my colleague ministers have said. So what we want to ensure is actually to all our visitors, we want to say that it's still safe, and then there's no issue in the islands which they visit. I think the indication of the sustained arrival figures is what we see as how we have been able to handle the situation. I think if there's any other questions later, I'll be able to answer. I think my Minister of Economic Development will be able to add further on the critical infrastructure development and the rest of the economic development. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, all my colleagues. Very good afternoon, and thank you, media, for your continued interest covering the stories from the Maldives. And my intervention is made easier by my three colleagues, especially Minister of Tourism, because he has assured to you the arrivals and the tourism sector, which we always continue to boast, remain steady. To talk about the success of President Jammeh, I'll have to take you back to 2013. The people in this country decided enough is enough. Years of political instability, years of mistrust, years of weak economy, a neglected economy requires a strong leadership, requires a complete overhaul, requires a transformation. the number of unemployment kept shooting, increase, and the economic sector was lacking the proper infrastructure to deal with the 21st century, to deal with the kind of situation we have today in the economic sector. So President Yamin, like other political leaders, presented his manifesto. His Excellency's manifesto was to bring economic stability, economic advancement, and then through that create social well-being, so that we have a harmonious society. And where are we today? As we speak, we have almost 9,500 GDP per capita from 6,000 GDP per capita when President Yamin assumed office in November 2013. And we had continuous and sustained growth of 6% ever since. We have created about 76,000 employment from a very hopeless situation to now in mere 4 years. And you can see massive infrastructure investment in this country. Talk about tourism sector growth, talk about transport, construction, aviation, you name any industry today will witness growth. So as Minister Zamir highlighted, I would rather leave for you to ask us any question on this regard, and then we will continue responding to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ministers. We will open the floor for questions. That is for the organizers to inform you, I think. That question you could ask the Secretariat.
We've all come, of course.
Can you use the
President would address us, but of course we have questions for you also. I think just making a request, just adding to what he said. We're all here primarily to take the message of the President through the interview. So I hope all of you would impress upon him to meet us and interact us. I know there was a protocol, but then there's a request to.
We note your request, and maybe you could proceed with the questions for the panel. Thank you.
So my first question is for Dr. Shaini. So you're saying that you, right from February 1st, you have kept the floor open for dialogue. And what can you just elaborate a bit on what were the different things we're talking about? We're sending mediators to President Nasheed, or have you been in touch with him? What did he say? So where is the, what's the blocking? I think I'm audible.
Yeah. No, the dialogue has been open since 2015. So 2015, for the second time in the series of party talks or party negotiations, President Yamin invited all parties to come to a dialogue for whatever the political differences is to sort it out. But since then, we have not been able to, I wouldn't say, to have proximity talks, because with the UN facilitation, there were a lot of meetings that we have held, and then there was all parties that sat down as well. And during that meeting, there was some agreements, or we reached to a level that that the government agreed to do some of the things, and including a couple of things that I would note here is some of the things we agreed was to bring President Nasheed's case, finalize his case from the Supreme Court, so that I don't know why he wanted it to happen, but that was a request to the all-party talks, which the government, not having any influence on the judiciary, and also noting that we don't have any influence on the judiciary, wrote a letter to the Chief Justice, and also the facilitator at the time from the UN, now the current UNASG, Tamrat Semal. He also met the Supreme Court Justice to bring his case to a finalization, which was a request from those party talks, or from those dialogues. So there have been some progress at the time, but then the second request, when initially we received from the opposition parties or from MDP at the time was that President Nasheed should be able to stand election in 2018, which was something that has to be discussed among all stakeholders, including all political parties. But the moment that this discussion opened up, it closed, because at the time Qasim Ibrahim was also with the party, with the government as a government coalition. So there were so many other demands that actually stopped pursuing in that direction. But the government did what government was asked to do at the time, and then further discussions could, if only the further discussions move forward, then we would be able to reach some sort of consensus on that. But that didn't happen. But since then, government has been inviting. Every time we get some indication that the opposition might want to talk with the government. For instance, recently there were a lot of talks on public that the opposition wanted to change some things within the laws or for the benefit of the public. Then the government was again interested to see whether the parties involved would come to the table and discuss this and find a solution. But then even then, when we extended the invitation, the opposition didn't want to come to the table. They just wanted to say something in public and then just run away from talking to the government. So even after the 1st of February, we were in contact with the UN and EU and other international community. And one of the suggestions was to open up again this channel of communication, which we did, which the government did, and sent an invitation. Since then, I remember now for the 4th time we have sent the invitation to come to the tables. To opposition. I mean, Nasheed is just one person, so we don't consider him as the opposition himself. But there's a lot of leaders that they call opposition leaders. Anyone who is a stakeholder in this, we have invited, because the government's interest is to bring calm to the nation, and then whatever the differences is, to sort it out in front of everyone very transparently to see if there are any differences. So what is the wait a minute? What is the opposition? What is that opposition wants from the government, which we have never had yet in writing, at least. So on top of this, we were approached by international community, a third party, if you may, to mediate, to have some negotiation, and that we accepted, and we moved forward. And I can't give you the documents, the details, because we are bound, at least to this confidentiality agreement, that we don't talk about it. But I only talk at this much as this. I said a third party. I said third party. They are professionals in this area. You have to take it at that level. And then, I mean, we exchanged documents. And this was informed to UN and EU as well. So they should know, and they know that this was happening. Suddenly this came to a halt when on 15th of February, the opposition came out and put a lot of preconditions, and beyond this channel that we were having. Government did not say anything, because we were asked not to speak of this process until there is a decision. So we did not speak of this process. But then the opposition came out and put a lot of preconditions that took back to previous situation where we were not able to sit down. So that is what happened recently.
What is that stops the government from accepting that President Nasheed should be allowed to contest? Is there a legal bottleneck? Or, and if you can list out three things which you think are coming in the way of such a discussion between the MDP and the government?
Yeah, I will say something politically, and then maybe Azima could say something legally. We have no issue President Nasheed contesting for the election, but this is a government where President Jammeh has said that rules and laws apply to everyone. So if Nasheed has gone on public and said that he has arrested the judge, this cannot be denied. He cannot deny this, because in public, on public television and also in international television, he has accepted that he has abducted a judge. So if this is under Maldivian constitution, a crime that stops him from being in the election. That is up to, that is the legal part of it. But then looking into the character of President Nasheed, even in 2008, when he first contested, for the good of the people at the time, the government overlooked into some of the things that he have done for him to be able to run for the presidency. During the president election, he went into the election booth and again violated the election law. Even this, after he was voted in as the president, was overlooked by the Prosecutor General for the peace and security of the government and for the harmony of the people of the Maldives. And again, when he was the president, like I said, he arrested, and he said he will arrest again if the situation arises. He has accepted this. So whether he did a crime or not is in the law, and he has been convicted by 3 courts in the Maldives and finalized the case as well. So does this give him the right to be election? If he is given the right, yes, all parties have to agree. There has to be a law, the amendment of the law to say that he can contest. And in this situation, any criminal in the jail should be able to contest as a president as well. So as a country, we have to decide whether this is, we are not talking about Nasheed. Any individual with such crimes a terrorist can actually run for the election. That we have to decide. And that is where the political talks and the president have said. And I remind you also that president have said that all his opposition colleagues at least come forward and put a letter to the government saying that they want him out of jail and contesting, which we have not received. Even from his colleagues like Maumoon have not said this. So it's not a matter of Nasheed or individual people. Is a matter of law, and is a matter of principle. So we are not worried about Nasheed contesting at all.
Yeah, definitely. Article 109 F of the Constitution says a person. It actually sets a bar on Nasheed to contest. Says any person who is contesting for the elections, the qualifications of a president, says he should not have been convicted of a criminal offense and sentenced to a term of more than 12 months unless a period of 3 years have elapsed since his release or pardon for the offense for which he was sentenced. So that's the constitutional bar he has. And unless and until the constitution is amended, Nasheed would have that constitutional bar. So that's I think. Pardon?
It's a lifetime bar.
3 years.
No, it says the person should not have been convicted of a criminal offense and sentenced to a term of more than 12 years unless a period of 3 years have elapsed since his release, that is after finishing the sentence, or pardon for the offense for which he was sentenced. So he basically has a constitutional bar on that. And as you know, he has not completed, he is on medical leave from the state. And right now he has absconded his medical leave term as well. And his pardon is basically under different legislation, which is the Clemency Act. And he's, and as far as I know, to my knowledge, he's not eligible for that as either. But the question doesn't even raise because he's not serving his sentence right now. He has absconded the sentence. So that's the legal and constitutional bar which he has. And I think it's very simple. Unless and until the constitution is amended, there's no question of whether he can contest the elections.
So you said that the third-party negotiations happening, and US and UN are aware of the situations, and this third party is a professional agency or whatever. And you said after that on February 15th, still they went on air and made public statements and set preconditions. So these third-party negotiations are still in progress, or we called it off?
We haven't called it off because even with that and breach of confidentiality agreement and matter of our understanding, we still have put forward a proposal to say that with this as well, the government is willing to move forward for the sake of the nation's stability, but there cannot be any preconditions to start a negotiation. It has to be within the party talks that we discuss all the matters that arises, whether we accept or not. It has to be all parties, because if you look at the kind of constituents, for example, for the parties, the current government coalition, the PPM, MDA, and DRP, have a majority of the population under their membership. So MDP is now a minority, so they cannot hostage the interest of the entire population by just having international community or third parties putting pressure on the Maldives. That cannot be done. Public interest, and if anyone loves democracy, has to be democratic. So this has to be decided by the parties, and the parties pro-government right now is have the majority of the public membership of the political parties.
Have you turned down India's offer to negotiate?
Can I request you to use the mic when you question?
Have you turned down India's offer to negotiate? Question 2 related. Has China offered to negotiate as a third party?
I have not been approached by India or China to negotiate on these matters. But China have put a statement saying that they would also like these to be sorted out through negotiations. And if and when the government wants, they are ready to facilitate. But we have not extended the invitation to any other country.
Any country. To any country.
If you look at last 3-4 decades, India had a major role in the development of Maldives, and there were a lot of transactions. We have visited Indira Gandhi Hospital today. At least 50% of the nurses and many doctors. So many people have they come from India. I personally know people from Maldives who speak very good Malayalam in Kerala. So my question is, what India ideally should have done? Because Maldives had that kind of a relationship with India, and India had a major role in its healthy progress. So what India ideally should have done?
India is still our best friend. India is still our neighbor. For the first time, President Jammeh has put this in writing as a policy that we have an India first policy. No other government before us have put this in writing as a policy, as a foreign policy. So India is still a partner in our development. India is a partner in everything that we do. We are so close. There is people-to-people contact. We move around every day. So I don't think there is any issue between India and Maldives relationship as such. And what the media reports is something very different from what we get from official channels. So I want to believe that India and Maldives are still good partners and development partners as well. So I don't think there is any bad feeling within the government towards Indian government at all. We are good partners, but what you have to understand is Maldives is very eager. You would have seen going around Male today, for example, the level of development that this government has brought, President Jammeh has brought. If you take, Mr. Saeed would go into the details, but if you look into it, I mean, more than 35 years development put together is seen in these 4 years in Male, and this is not by just doing things as we did earlier. On a routine basis that we were doing. There has been some changes, and these changes require that the Maldives develop as fast as possible and through whatever the legal means that we get. So I think even now India is looking into islands to develop, resort facilities to develop, projects. Even every now and then they have been part of our development, have been proposing, and they have been winning projects as well. So I think that's the way forward. We as a partner move forward together and don't listen to the rhetorics and people like Nasheed, who is trying to create an issue. As you know, it was him who made this very sensitive. He was calling up on military intervention to India, but India did not respond to it. We know India wouldn't, because India are our good partners. I mean, our neighbors. So it is a political dimension to that people get carried away. But as a government to government, we are still good friends, and we can't be separated.
What can India do? What is the role India can play to defuse this situation? I think that was the question.
The situation as of today, or
The political crisis.
pardon? The
The
political.
political crisis, if I may call it.
I think India, as Ms. Shaini said, India is a time-tested friend, and India has been very supportive. Of course, there were statements which came from the Indian government, which basically we had sort of clarified as well. Our diplomats have been talking to the Indian government, explain the situation as well, and now you see things have, the understanding is there. So our understanding was on the 1st of February, when suddenly a Supreme Court order comes out, I think everybody would have sort of taken the Supreme Court per se to be the Supreme Court. But when the government came out and we explained our constitutional and legal explanations as well, at the same time, other issues and what went on behind the coup attempt, and the police has given enough evidence out in the public to say that there have been, this is a real issue that has been happening. And I think the understanding is there. I don't think there's any room for any, as Mr. Shaini said. So India has been a very good friend all this while, and we have total confidence in the Indian government support. And as expected, as you said, what can the Indian government do? Indian government has always been our best friend, and they remain so, and we don't question that. So I think that there's no question as to whether anything else really should happen for right now. Ms. Said.
That's our question.
That's your question.
Yeah. So far, we have always said that, and you should respect this as well. And I think this is also a message to India and other countries as well. We have the capacity to solve our issues ourselves. Why haven't we gone to the Kashmir issue and then ask, for example, us to be the mediator on those issues? Because they are internal matters. So Maldives have internal matters. So why don't Maldives get a chance to solve these internal matters? And you have been around in Mali today. Have you seen anything serious that is happening around Mali? We don't have a situation where we need our help. Only once in the recent history, Maldives required help, and it was India who helped us. The government called upon India for help when there was a case where we needed our help. So India, as well as other countries, should trust the government of the Maldives that we have the capacity to solve our issues and leave our internal matters to ourselves. If we need help, the first person to look for will be our neighbors and our big brothers, India. That India should be. I'm sure they already know. So I think India and Maldives cannot be separated, because we have links going 53 years of formal relationship, and even beyond that. So I don't think there is any issue between India and Maldives per se. But Maldives, if there is anything, we should be respected for whom we are. We are small, but we are independent. We are patriotic people, like Indians are in India as well. So leave our internal issues to us, and if there is a need, India will be the first to ask.
Minister, you're talking about the constitution and the rule of law. Is constitution and citizen rights laws are operational, or are they suspended in the country right now?
As far as the laws are concerned, the state of emergency and the Majlis extension, parliamentary extension, very clearly states any laws which have been suspended due to the state of emergency only applies to those who are under investigation, prosecution, and arrest detention for the illegal and unconstitutional activities of February 1st. So that is the only people, the only situation where the laws are suspended. And the state of emergency decree very clearly states as to what I think our support staff would be able to give you detail of what has been suspended. Other than that, things are normal. In fact, the decree is also very clearly, presidential decree is also very clearly stated that nobody else should be affected because of that.
But when the judges are in jail, who interprets law?
Pardon?
Constitution? When the judges are in jail, or they are not able to interpret law, who is in charge?
You mean to say 2 judges of our total 200, more than 200 numbers judiciary would be the only people who will be. I think you need to have a look at how judiciaries work on that. Okay.
I think we have the majority of the majority of Supreme Court judges are still in the Supreme Court, and they are attending the cases. And it's two judges that have been arrested for, I think, on accusation of the coup.
Yeah.
There are two different narratives here. One, your press note speaks about, the chronology of events, and the other, the outside world. What we heard, at least, was the Supreme Court issued an order which acquits Nasheed. So in effect, lets him contest the elections. And then the President's office puts out a communique saying that the website of the Supreme Court has been hacked. And immediately the Supreme Court puts out a tweets rather, saying there is no such hacking, the order is genuine.
Yes.
So this is a totally different narrative, if you can throw some light to it.
The Supreme Court order of 1st February happened. There's no question of whether it was, hacked or whether it's a forged document. It happened, and the Supreme Court. What we are saying is, it is beyond the constitutional powers given to the Supreme Court. That is what we are saying. And at the same time, what we are also saying is, the Supreme Court order, I don't know whether you've got a translation. I'm sure one of our staff should be able to give you a The Supreme Court order did not acquit Nasheed. That's why I said, some of the legal issues which I think that is why the invitation today. That's why we're very happy to receive you here to give you an explanation of the real narrative of the story. The Supreme Court, there was no case registered in the Supreme Court where this order was issued. I don't know whether you have heard of any jurisdiction where a court can order and come out with an injunction or an order where there is no case registered in the court. So basically, the Supreme Court order, to my knowledge, to what I have read, said was that they be released from whatever sort of arrest they were in, and their cases should be reheard on a retrial. And the Maldivian constitution does not allow for any retrial to be heard of a case where the Supreme Court has already decided on. So these are some of the few legal issues which we had raised, and I'm sure the documentation which is provided for you will give some of the other extreme examples of implications of the Supreme Court order were basically they were bundling up about 9 cases, 9 individuals, 9 cases. Which were decided, some were decided by the Supreme Court, some were under appeal under the Supreme Court, some were in the High Court level, some were under investigation, some were under the first trial courts as well. And they bundled up to say these people should be released immediately and their cases to be reheard. Number one, the Maldivian constitution does not have a provision where a Supreme Court decision can be reheard again. Number two, if you go into this case was not registered. There was no registration of a case which happened under which this order came out. And number three as well, there was no right of answer given to the state who was advocating for this case. The Prosecutor General was not informed, the Attorney General was not informed, and the state didn't even know this was happening. And that's why, basic anomalies. And under Article 20 of the Constitution, basically, in every person and the Maldivian Constitution have a free, a basic principle, they're equal before the law. So if this was applied to 9 people, the Prosecutor General had to give the same opportunity of retrial, opportunity of freedom immediately to other people and other criminals. Basically, this would involve rapists, pedophiles, murderers, all of so. These are the issues which the government lawyers actually expressed. And that's why I said, if you have a look at the Maldivian Constitution, which I invite you to do, these are real legal issues, and that needs to be heard by the Supreme Court. That is what the government applied for. That is what the government requested to. Hear out what the government is supposed to do under this court order and give us guidance as to what needs to happen.
Mr. Nasheed is accused of abducting a judge.
He's been convicted of abducting a judge.
Yeah. So here is a case that, when the Supreme Court has an alleged judgment, 2 judges are sent to jail. So my question is, let's not debate about the legislation, you know better than me. But the question is it time for a relook, deep dive into your constitution itself? Or is there a process in motion to bring in amendment to, I'm sure that all of us in this room would agree that there is a conflict. There is a conflict at times between judiciary or members of the judiciary and the people in government and the President's office. So is it time to bring in a constitutional amendment to whichever way to bring in some more clarity so that it becomes a better, robust democracy with these pillars not conflicting with each other?
What was it that you meant by that? Basically, there is an investigation, criminal investigation that is happening, where the police has come out with evidence to say what was happening in the Supreme Court. I think that needs to be given space before we talk about anything. I would invite my colleagues to comment on
I
that.
think you are right. You're right to say that there are issues in the system where we need to look back and make sure that this doesn't happen again. I'm sure that was what you are referring to. But the problem is, the system is our system. The last constitution is only 10 years. I can't say only 10 years, but within these 10 years, there have been 3 presidents serving. And the first president took office within few months of the first constitution. He was not able to bring in any of the legal instruments that is required by the constitution to actually live or see the real light of the new constitution. So that this government has done a lot to bring in those institutional pillars that ensures that the constitution is fully enjoyed by the rest of the public or the nation or the people. This has been already highlighted by European Union as well. We are under a program of actually not reviewing but looking into ways to do it. And it has been the Supreme Court Chief Justice is a main person who has stopped this all this time. And EU would know this. Because the government have had programs with the EU to look into the constitutional issues or the issues that you have highlighted. And it has always been the Supreme Court, the justices that is now under arrest, who has stopped this. So yes, I understand. I understand that. I mean, the people you can never know. We can have a very good system. The people you can never know. So when we entrust the people to respect the system, and if it doesn't happen, then we have to look into it to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That is right.
So you're saying that your government, in consonance, in consultation with EU, is trying to bring in amendments to make your constitution better, but the judge, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, is standing in the way. So that itself is a conflict.
Can I also add on to that? I think the constitutional process is always an evolutionary process. The government has reviewed the constitution after 10 years of its implementation. That review is done. The review report was done January this year. Yes, and but we have stated that even in public. It was done by a Singapore university. One of the constitutional expert, the constitutional expert was from Singapore. So the government is already in the process of implementing what can be implemented without amendment to the constitution itself. And we are also in the process of implementing the recommendations as well. So definitely constitutions always need to be strengthened, developed, all of that. But I meant by my answer was this February 1st activity has nothing to do with the weaknesses of the constitution. Definitely the constitution needs to be strengthened. The working needs to be. We only have a constitutional history of only about 80 years and when we are comparing it to developments of hundreds of years. So I'm not saying the constitution doesn't need to be strengthened. What I'm saying is what happened on the February 1st had nothing to do with the constitution. It had everything to do with unconstitutional and criminal acts of 2 individuals who usurped their powers beyond what was given to them by the constitution. That's how it should be viewed for now. The police needs to be given the space to finish the investigation. Prosecutor General needs to be given the space for prosecution, and they need to be tried by the court of law. That is what I think should happen as far as these 2 individuals are concerned.
Maldives declined the invite by India for a joint naval. Is that true? Is there any connection between emergency and this?
I think the Minister of Defense has clarified that earlier to the media that because of the SOE here, Maldives was not participating. But it has nothing to do with the relations, rather it was of the current situation. I think it was clarified a few days ago in the media.
Yeah, I think once again I thank you for keen interest knowing this. I think it's time, as I keep saying, the world should know this man, Nasheed, who he is. He deflates without limelight. So he say anything to destabilize the region, to bring focus to something else. If you recall back his early days in office, I remember one of the questions like you asking right now was to Nasheed. What is his priority? He said, sell Maldives and buy a dry land. And 20 days back after that, he said, invited the world to come and invest in the Maldives. So, he keep talking about everything, anything that demands, that he believes his name is always on the headline. So, like what's going on right now, the opposition try to divert the focus from the development. It's a fact that this government, this administration has improved the livelihood of the people. Education system, the health sector, infrastructure, the very weak, vulnerable economy aligned to the current system of development in a very integrated world. We have witnessed in 4 years, 76,000 jobs created to the youth. You must have seen the kind of development in this 2 by 2 kilometer island in Malé, the smallest big city in the world. The youth city, about 240 hectares of land added as the second phase of the Hulumale development, creating housing like never before, 16,000 housing units in 4 years. The international airport, the kind of investments we bring with second runway, additional terminal facility, and the kind of bed capacity increase to the tourism sector. These are things that is required, like any other country in the face of this planet, to bring people's livelihood to a better condition. So I think, like Maldives, the region has to celebrate these developments by President Jammeh. He's a president who is facing and trying to solve the issues for a better tomorrow to our youth, to our women, to our men, to our kids who are going to school today. And we see the results. The world, you ask and you see any international independent institution who publish these statistics, the numbers are very clear. We are enjoying growth in all the sectors. So these, the activities of opposition leaders today, they are trying to derail our development. They are trying to divert the focus from to something else, because they know if President Jammeh keep delivering these statistics, these numbers, this development, he will enjoy a sweeping victory in 2018.
Especially Mr. Saeed, in the first also you asserted that whatever happened in the last 3-4 years, cannot be matched with last 3 decades, last 35 years, and you were describing now all these major housing projects and infrastructure projects, unemployment, 75,000 jobs created, all these things, the increase in the tourism sector, number of beds, all these things. But one point Mr. Nasheed has been raising always is Nasheed has been raising was almost 70% of Maldives foreign debt owes to China, and the 20% of total budget go for the payment of interest. So again, this is a debatable issue whether the government can decide how you should go for a development process. But my question is, when you say that you have witnessed a massive development in the last 3 years, and all that began with a GMR deal got scrapped. So do you think there is a public perception that India has been looting Maldives?
as
The,
Minister
the political
No,
class
no.
in Maldives had such an opinion?
Absolutely not. As my colleague Minister Shaini just highlighted, we are having a very stable relationship. We are good friends, best friends, and India knows that. We know that. It's just that this man Nasheed is trying to confuse the whole situation and tell the world a different story. Look, we are very connected. Both sides, like you just mentioned, most of people, we watch Bollywood movies, we listen Bollywood music, and we love Indian food, and we are very close to people here. When you come here, as I said, this is a 2 by 2 kilometer capital here. The kind of development initiated by this administration is the kind of development that requires to create numbers, jobs, economy, infrastructure. Look, we had 26,000 tourist beds when President Jammeh assumed office. 26,000 tourist beds is far less than average bigger hotel chain like Oberoi probably will have more. Hilton will have more global networks. President Jammeh believes unless we double these numbers or triple these numbers, the demands of our youth cannot be met. We can't create employment. So it's absolutely necessary to increase the beds, but we cannot increase the bed. We cannot bring more investments to other sectors without investing on our infrastructure. And the kind of infrastructure development here, both public and private, attracts international banks from all parts of the globe. So what he talks about our foreign debt to a particular country or region make no sense to me. And whatever investment we do, we make careful feasibility studies, and we know the recovery, we know the payback period, and we borrow finance at very, very concessional rates, which has never been the case in the past, if you even compare to last 40 years.
Samir,
I think something very interesting I can tell you. In the last 3 years, we have never invited a government for investments at a government level. No, we have actually, I think, the ambassadors who is ambassador based in Delhi, as well as the ambassador based in Malay here, the Indian. I mean, we have actually allocated certain number of islands by the president. We have communicated them to get investments from India. I can recall back in February 2016 when I visited an official trip on an invitation from my counterpart in India. I signed an MOU with the Oberoi Group. They have started their resort development here. A lot of Indian brands are here. If you look at the housing projects, some of the commercial housing projects which is happening in Hulmal, a lot of them are Indian. And if you look at the road network which was recently developed in the youth city, it's Indian, about $40 million project, and there are so many investments. But I don't think anybody actually comes out and say all these things. So probably you're not aware. But there are a lot of Indian investments, and if when you talk about the Bollywood stars, they own resorts here. I mean, there are resorts which is owned by the Bollywood stars, but it's not in public domain. I mean, nobody wants to go out and say, "Look, I own a resort here." It's really not like that. So, but there are so many investments, joint investments, which is here, and I know a lot of them are investing heavily in the last 5 years. Also, I have seen it goes from our ministries. So basic understanding is actually, I mean, if you want to twist the story, it's very easy. But one thing very interesting I'll tell you, none of the borrowings that you are referring to is for the budget support. It is for project financing. So all of them which has been financed, as my colleague minister has said, very concessional rates, and also these are feasible projects which has been, risk assessments have been done by the lenders, so it's really not G2G arrangements that have been done. So that's, I think, so to twist, the opposition can say anything, but the real fact is that is why Indian government has really not, responded to what the former President Nasheed has said in India. And in fact, I think the Indian defense minister denied the fact that she met with the president on official call. It was just in a party, in a conference or somewhere. He met, and it was a courtesy, handshake. And that also has been brought out of proportion and talked, So basically what we understand is we are in very good terms with the Indians, and we will continue to be, and the investments that we will continue to be doing with the Indians. So that's my understanding, and that's what I want the Indian community, the business community also to understand.
But in terms of investments, in terms of borrowings, but the role of China is very significant, isn't it?
We are a connected country, like any other country in the planet. The world is a very globalized place today. If you see the private sector investments, public sector infrastructure investments, things that requires to support each other, public-private, our case is open to the world. We have investments from Europe, US. We have investments from India, China. We have investments from Singapore, Korea, Hong Kong, China, Hong Kong, all these places. What I'm trying to say is the case here in Maldives is a very open case. And we deserve cheaper credit to uplift our infrastructure, which is necessary to take our economy ready for tomorrow. Because we have a youth mass who is eager to seek employment. Without that, we cannot restore social well-being, social harmony. And it's the call of the president, to address the public priorities, the national priorities. Without that, you don't have a stable country. So the oppositions, when they got the opportunity to run this country, they never, took this path, the people's path. The priorities of youth forward. This is not the only 4 years in the history of this country. We are living here for ages. How many leaders have come and gone? You tell me anybody other than President Yamin who kept pushing youth priorities forward. There is a social welfare bill that has already, I would call the best in the region. Taking care of the elderly citizen. We have the lowest infant mortality rate in this part of the world. Highest probably life expectancy in this part of the world. Many achievements and many firsts in the region. And I think any country today, India and the regional friends must be proud of the case here in the Maldives, because a prosperous Maldives is also a prosperity to the region. We are so integrated.
We just have 10 minutes left of this
Right.
press conference.
So one was, you just said that Maldives is, it's an open case. Whatever you do is out all in the open. Can you list the top investors in the last 3 years, the top countries that have invested in Maldives in the last 3 years? I'm taking a cue from what you said about it being an open case.
I think Minister Zamir will respond part of it. But if you take the tourism sector, for example, the highest number of investments are from, I would, in my statistics, shows Europe, Singapore, and if you see the international brand power, management power here in the Maldives, I would argue most are from United States, for example. But of course, we knock on all EXIMs, all lenders for cheaper credit. As I said, one priority that remains visible in this country is that without investing on the infrastructure, there's no way we can revive and create a modern economy. So President Yamin invites the whole world to come and invest. That's his priority. That's the priority of this administration. That's why we say Maldives is open for business. That's why we say Maldives is an open country to the world. anybody, everybody has an opportunity to come and invest in the Maldives. If you look at the tourism sector, you take a count of all the hospitality flagship brands here. Most of them are from Europe. Well, I think Minister Zamir will add to my question, my response. But you know, look, we need to respect all the countries, all the investments, and all the banks who have lent us credit believes Maldives has the strength to pay back the investments in due course. And if you take the whole Asia, I think we are the only country who is certain that we pay tourism sector investments in 7 to 10 years. So it's very, very safe.
So you're saying that the investments that have come across, or there is no debt trap that Maldives is going to fall into?
Absolutely no, not.
You're
no.
%% sure?
No, absolutely
Look,
not.
I think, and in my response earlier, I told these are not for budget support. These are revenue-generating projects that that are being funded by commercial entities. So this is actually, there's no debt trap that has in question here, because none of them are for budget support. If you look at if you look at the revenues that generate, the Malé International Airport, and then if you look at the funding for that came from Chinese Exim and also Saudi Fund, and there was a conglomerate of funders who came in. There are, so if you look at the Hulu Malé road network, it was Indian Exim funding. And I think $40 million. I'm not sure about the figure, but I think so. It's there, So none of them are for the budget support. So people shouldn't be worried about it, because these are revenue-generating entities which borrow. Some of them are backed by a sovereign guarantee, or some are not.
But same argument is strengthened because the similar models happened in Sri Lanka and Pakistan, where equally the ports were taken by the Chinese.
I think Ms. Amir's point here was these are all self-sustaining projects.
Yeah.
And if you have a look at any of these loan agreements, commercial loan agreements, you would definitely agree to that. None of these banks would lend unless and until they, you know how international banks work. None of the banks would lend unless and until they are, convinced that the revenue being generated from these projects would be able to pay the loan. That is feasibility of banks, and that's international banking. I don't think there's any doubt on that as well.
Interestingly, the highest investments are from Singapore in the Maldives. If you look at the last 5 years, in the tourism sector I'm talking about, it's from Singapore. And a lot is from the Middle East. Well, Chinese have been in infrastructure. Yes, they have invested, but they have not invested in the tourism sector. But you would have heard from the media that there was land grabbing, which was happening, which was, out there. There's no. I think in China falls on the 6th or 7th place in the investments if you look at the last 5 years in the tourism sector.
But you do accept that China is the top investor in terms of infrastructure in Maldives?
Infrastructure investments, yes. I think I'm really not sure about the figure.
No, let us not put figures that we don't have. But you will be meeting the infrastructure minister right after this, and you can ask that question from him. But I represent the fisheries and agriculture sector, and then going back to what the land grab issue. Actually, it is the fisheries Ministry of Fisheries that have the mandate to look after all the uninhabited islands. And I have told this in public as well, that there is none given to any Chinese company as 100% investment. But I have been looking into 2 Indian companies to invest in these islands. So what you hear is actually totally different from what it is. And I hate to see that this becomes a kind of an argument with regard to India, China, Saudi or whatever. These are individual companies. As Mr. Said says, we are open for business and we are investing in the Maldives for betterment of the Maldivians. And you can see when you go through the Maldives or in Malé as well, the kind of development that this government or this administration have brought. So let's not actually take that to a level and say that it is India versus China versus Sri Lanka versus Saudi. It's individual companies, and none of the governments have invested here.
Yeah,
It's the companies
I
that
think we
invest
need
in.
to put this into perspective. No, I honest, let us also answer. I think this needs to be, this is not about bilateral relations. This is about commercial development in the Maldives. This is about Maldives going into international trade. This is about us competing in the world. And I think it is the right of all Maldivian people to aspire to this, to have aspirations of better development, better lives. And as Mr. Said, Mr. Zamir, Mr. everybody said, we are open for business. We have business relations with everybody who comes into the Maldives. Our laws are clear. We are pretty transparent on all of this. All of our loan agreements are with international banks, and you know the KYCs and all of the stringent requirements there. Let's put this back into perspective. If you want to have a look at infrastructure, then you have the question of what % of infrastructure is Maldivian economy. I don't think that is what is required right now. Let us put this back into perspective, and as we have said, we are open for business, we are open for transactions, we are open for commercial investments, be it India, be it China, be it Singapore, and our tourism industry, our economy speaks for itself. There is no concentration of any bilateral issue here, no bilateral relations, no, it's not there. This is the final question we are opening for, because we just have 2 minutes more. One final question, and I would give a preference for somebody who has not asked a question.
If any.
If any. If not, final question, yes. Yes, no, we give the floor to, we give the floor to the person who's not answered, yes. Pardon? Can you repeat the question?
Can you hear? Okay.
Yes.
You're telling that it's not affected in the tourism industry.
We have the Minister of Tourism.
And how long you will continue this emergency, or till the political election which is declared?
I think I might not be able to answer how long it will continue, but I definitely will be able to answer you about the impact on the tourism. Yes, we have had cancellations, but I think if you look at the Maldivian tourism sector, I mean, the bounce back time is very quick. If you look at the tsunami a few years ago, and our bounce back time was very quick, and we came back very strongly. And after that, we have had political unrest, and we have had major issues. But our bounce back time has been very good, because what happened is at the moment this happens, there's panic in the media, and then people do some cancellations. But the moment, when we are able to continue, we have, as we talk, we have over 20 or 30 PR agencies who work for our tourism industry. So what they do is they take our message and deliver to the tour operators as well as the other interested parties, and ensure that the correct message is, the moment someone says SOE to a person who is probably in a city like Chennai in India, I mean, if they have planned holiday here, they probably will rethink. But when our tour operator explains to them the concept of our SOE here, our state of emergency here, because it has very little bearing on what happens in a resort island. People only understand it when they are explained. So that is why a bounce back is good. But having said that, I'm telling you, it has impacted. But I think the forecast looks okay. And I think, Minister, if you can address
on the question of how long, the presidential decree itself, it's translated up on the PO website, if I know, states that every single time we took into account the issues of the Constitution plus the National Security Council advice as well. Currently, there are no plans to extend. We still have the 10 days left of the Maldives extension as well. So let's not speculate into that. We have very seriously said this only applies to people who are under investigation or trial for the February 1st unconstitutional and illegal crimes that happened. The current extension runs out 22nd of this month, as it is now. So that's it. You have seen the Maldives. Life is normal. We didn't close any school. We have not closed any shop. Life is normal. Offices are open. Business is as usual. So let's enjoy that. But just one final question from the gentleman in white, because it's been asking for that. And we close this press conference today with that question. Yes.
Mike.
No extensions on the question, just
Yes,
one question. Okay.
Very short question.
Okay.
No, as you said, we hear the main opposition Nasheed's voice, so maybe that is why his name has been repeated so far. But
Very popular name.
The major significance of this entire debate about China and India is because not because of so small reasons, but many other factors like our signature with the free trade agreement, the Belt and Road Initiative. And the recent, in 2017, 2 Chinese warships were docked here. So the question arises from India is whether isn't it making India so vulnerable? Because it sounds like geopolitically dominating the region by a country, and of course the Silk Route. All these being re-established. So isn't it that is the main point there?
We'll give to Ms. Said to answer.
Well, you mentioned about FTA, free trade agreement. We have extended our invitation to the world on free trade agreement. We have a regional free trade area called SAFTA. We have signed with China on FTA. China, India are major economic powers today, and blessed we are in the region. And we can tap on these markets, and it's no surprise, China outbound travel strength is on the rise, and like New York, like Paris, like Rome, Maldives has every right to tap on that. And India, we are blessed. The Indian arrivals are on the rise to the Maldives. We have extended FTA invitations to United States, Japan. I remember a few other countries, including EU. And I think Minister Shiny will mention this. We catch 150,000 tons of tuna, very fresh tuna, to the country, and we export mainly to Europe and United States. And they have very good value to that. And talking of trade in general, as I said, President Yamin's vision to embrace the Maldivian economy to a modern one and a very resilient one deserves respect, because he is an Asian leader who has made a difference, who has created hope from a ruined society with years of mistrust, years of neglected economy being revived in just mere 4 years. So he deserves respect. Look, President Maumoon has run this country for 30 years. Up until now, you call him a dictator, and then now he's been washed as a Democrat. I'm not here to debate on that. But Moody's, Fitch ratings recently. In 4 years, President Yamin has invited the world to come and rate our economy. Why was this not done in 30 years? And in Nasheed's 3 years, they lacked the character, the strength to invite the world to see our economy as a more transparent one.
And Moody's has said that this emergency will impact your.
None of us wishes to have emergencies. None of us wishes to have emergencies or troubles. But when people plan these troubles, when the judiciary attempts to a coup sponsored by few business elite, one business elite and few former leaders, then the country has to come back to normalcy. And that's the responsibility of the president to ensure the country is in smooth running, for the betterment of the people.
We would invite Ms. Samir and Ms. Chani also to have answer to this question and their final comments as well.
With regard to the geopolitical dimension, I'm very surprised that you said that, because we think that India is very strong, and we are safer to believe that India is very strong in this region. And once again, we have had an understanding and also a policy, foreign policy, saying that this will be a demilitarized zone. There won't be any military activities in the Maldives, and India can be assured that Maldives will not be a threat to India in any form, because we don't want our neighbors to feel that we are a threat. We are not. And as far as the military vessels docked here and others, I mean, we have US vessels here coming. We have Saudi vessels being here. We have Indian vessels more than anyone else been here as well. So like I said, again, don't take this into a perspective where you are comparing India versus China. This is not the case for us, at least. We are looking for businesses. We are looking for relationships. Whoever is ready to offer that, we will take the opportunity. So I think that is the main message from us, that I mean the perspective maybe put forward by some of our, unfortunately, nationals, politicians is wrong. And we are very transparent. We put out what as policies what we want to exercise, and India shouldn't be worried at all.
Yeah, I think Moody's and Fitch has been monitoring Maldives on their current rating, and I think the initial statement which you are referring to, yes, definitely if there is arrival decline, there should be a decline growth. That's a fact. But what I'm saying is our bounce back has always been very, very strong in the past, and we continue to see that trend. And if you look at 2016 or it's 2015, there was an assassination attempt on the president, and then we had similar difficulties at that point in time. There was some suspended travel to the Maldives, and then we saw it really took off balance, but again we were able to come back within a month. We were okay, and even now the future bookings that we see is strong compared to the low season that we are in right now, because this is the forecast. The future is in future few months is going to be actually the low season. Traditionally it's been like that, but the kind of booking that is being done, we see it strong. And interestingly, India is one of the fastest growing markets for inbound travel markets, travel trade markets for Maldives. So we would really like the Indians to understand that it's really safe here, and there's no issue of arson or anything which they will be experienced here, like what happened in 2012. No, there's nothing like that. We are completely safe, and people can travel here. If there's any Indians who would like to travel to Maldives, please, we really invite you, because Maldives International Airport, take your boat and go to the resort, enjoy yourself, and go back home, and we'll invite you again.
I hope that explains a lot of questions that you have had.
Really sorry.
Yeah.
I understand it is the last question.
Yeah.
It was the last question.
Yeah. But have we not answered on this?
I don't think so. So I'll just put it in this
Yeah.
way. Is Maldives concerned about concerns regarding China playing the big brother in the region? Let's put it that way.
The question is if the Maldives has a role in the geopolitics of the it is concerned.
I can answer that question. We don't believe that China is the big brother in this region. It is India the big brothers, and we have a policy. We have an open policy saying India first. So I don't think you should be worried about that at all. But if this is Indian, if it is Chinese development projects that come to Maldives, yes, we will take them. Thank you.
So I hope we have clarified. Everybody is happy and content. We have another press conference of 4 more ministers coming in now. And I would like to also say here, because we've all heard about a lot of, not so true facts about the Maldives. And I think this has given you an opportunity to basically clarify. Let me also add, if we continue to listen to a person who has nothing else but the interest of coming back into limelight, yes, there would always be misconceptions. You're talking about a person who came into office 2008, resigned by himself, went and said there was a coup, and then we finally decided no, there was no coup, he's resigned. Again contested an election, lost in 2013, got a conviction for what he in the public TV said he has done. Now he wants to get away with the crime. That there will always be misconceptions. We always invite you to check the facts with all of us. We will always be open. Our emails are open, and we'll be more than happy to explain what the government is about, what the Maldives is about, and what the story is about. Thank you so much for all of that.
Yes, I think.
न्यूज़ के मिगडी के मुहिम खबर तोगे सुरही तोगे तेरेगा फंडियारगे मच्च जिनाई कुशे साबितु हुकुम कंडेले वगतुं फिशिಗೆಂ ए फंडियारक मकाम वकिवा गुता फंडियारुंगे कानून हुशेल इस्लाह रईतुंगे मजलिहुं फास कुरुं वकी सियासी पार्टी के टिकट गा वादकोगेन रईतुंगे मजलिहुं इंतिहाब मफाओ इंतिहाब दौरुगे तेरेगा इंतिहाब पार्टी बदल को फिनामा ए मेंबर के गोंडी गेल्ले गोतं हुशेल एंटी डिफेक्शन के बिल मजलिहुं फास कुरुं रोहिंग्या मुस्लिमुन एहियुम सरकार के फरातुं कुरिय गेंदिय फंड लिबुन फैसा हगवेरी फरात का फोर को देउन कं कशवर कुरान कम के यकीन कं सरकार उन दिन खबर के तफसील के इतुरुं श्रीलंका का दिरोले दिवेहिम विसा अदि सिटी होदुमं अन्नेरु लंका के इमिग्रेशन गवायदा एग्गे वागुत के मतिंग एजेंट मेदुवेरी नुको आवम श्रीलंका गा हुन दिवे एम्बसिंग एंगे खबर के तफसील वस मिगडी के खबरुगा
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अस्सलाम वालेकुम पीएसएम न्यूज़ के मिगडी की खबर बल्ला मुगेंदवा इमहा फरात कस मरहबा दनव मिगडी खबरा को तबेफना बदल कोल्ली अलगंड ज़ेहुनत हसन ने खबर के तफसील है कि कुरियत दाना मिगडी के खबर के मफरतम तफसील बलालानी फंडियारे के मच्चा जिनाई कुछ साबित हुए हुकूमत कंडेले वगुतुम फिशिंग फंडियारा को मकाम वकिवागुत फंडियारों के कानून होशेल इस्लाह रईतुं के मजलिहुं फास कुरे खबरा फड़दु दायरा के मेंबर अब्दुल रहीम अब्दुल्ला फंडियारों के कानून होशेल इस्लाह के बिल फासी वोटों के बैर वडाने भी मेंबरों के अगलबियतों
ರೈತುಗೆ ಮಜ್ಲಿ ಫಾಸ್ ಕುರೆವಿ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರುಂಗೆ ಕಾನೂನ ಗಿನ ಇಸ್ಲಾಹುಗ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರಿಗೆ ಮಚ್ಚ ಜಿನಾಯಿ ದಾವಾಯಿ ಫುಲಾಫಿನಮ ಏನಾಗೆ ಮಚ್ಚ ಹುಕುಮೆ ಕಾಂಡಾಡಂದೆ ಮುಸಾ ನುದಿಬೇಗೊತ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಕಮಿಷನು ಎ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರಕು ಸಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಕುನ ಮಾನೆಕಮ ಬಯಂ ಕುಫಾವೆ ಅದೇ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರಿಗೆ ಮಚ್ಚ ತುಹಮತ್ ಕುರೆವೆ ಜಿನಾಯಿ ಕುಶಕಾಗುಳಿಗಿಂ ದಶಕೋಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ನಿಮ್ಮುಮ ದಿವಿ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟಂ ಇಸ್ತಿನಾಫ್ ಕುರುಮ ಹುಷಳಮುಗೆ ಮುದ್ದತಿಕಿ ಎ ಮಸಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಾರೀಖುಂ ಫಶಿಗಿಂ ದಿಹದುವಸ್ಕಮ ಬಿಲ್ಗಾ ಹಿಮನಾಫಾವೆ ಮೇಗಿತುಂ ಎ ಹುಕುಮ್ ಇಸ್ತಿನಾಫ್ ಕುರುಮ ಎ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರಿಗೆ ಫರಾತು ಹುಷಳಾಫಿನಮ ಎ ಮಸಲೆ ಹುಷಳ ತಾರೀಖುಂ ಫಶಿಗಿಂ ತಿರಿಸ್ ದೂಗೆ ತೆರೇಗಾ ಎ ಮಸಲೆ ಬಲ ಗೊತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಾನೆಕಮ ವೆಸ್ ರೈತುಗೆ ಮಜ್ದಿ ಹುಂ ಫಾಸ್ ಕುರೆವಿ ಬಿಲ್ಗಾವೆ ಆದಿ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರಿಗೆ ಮಚ್ಚ ತುಹಮತ್ ಕುರೆವೆ ಜಿನಾಯಿ ಕುಶಕಾಗುಳಿಗಿಂ ದಿವಿ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನಿಮ್ಮುಮ ದಿವಿ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟಂ ಇಸ್ತಿನಾಫ್ ಕುರುಮ ಹುಷಳಮುಗೆ ಮುದ್ದತಿ ಕೀವೆಸ್ ಮಸಲ ನಿಮ್ಮೆ ತಾರೀಖುಂ ಫಶಿಗಿಂ ದಿಹದುವಸ್ಕಮಶ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟಂ ಎ ಮಸಲೆ ಹುಷಳ ತಾರೀಖುಂ ಫಶಿಗಿಂ ತಿರಿಸ್ ದೂಗೆ ತೆರೇಗಾ ಮಸಲ ಬಲ ಗೊತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ ಜೆಹೇನೆಕಮ ಬಯಂ ಕುಫಾವೆ ಅದಿ ಜಿನಾಯಿ ಕುಶ ಸಾಬಿತು ವೆಜ್ಜಕಮ ಶರುವಿ ಕೋರ್ಟಕು ಹುಕುಮೆ ಕಾಂಡಾಳ ಬಗುತುಂ ಫಶಿಗಿಂ ಎ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರಕು ಮಕಾಮು ವಕಿವಾನೆಕಮ ವೆಸ್ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರುಂಗೆ ಕಾನೂನ ಗಿನ ಇಸ್ಲಾಹತುಗೆ ತೆರೇಗಾ ವನಿ ಹಿಮನಾಫಾ මෙබිල් දිරාසල් කො නිමිකොතුක රිපෝට් බහුස්කුර ගෙන මෙම්බරු මනි මිස්ලාහ තායිද කුරාකන් හාම් කොෆා ಫಂಡಿಯಾರುಂಗೆ ಕಾನೂನುಗ ಮಿಹಾರ ಬುಣೆಫಾವನಿ ಕಾನೂನು ಸಾಸಿಗ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕು ಫಾವಾ ಗೊತ್ತಂ ಅಜನ್ ಕುರವೆ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರುನ್ನಕಿ ಖಂಡೇಳೆ ವಕಿ ಮುದ್ದತಕಂ ಅಜನ್ ಕುರವೆ ಬಯನ್ನು ಕಮಶಾ ಎ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರು ಮಗಾಮ ಅಜನ್ ವೀನ್ಸುರೆ ಮಗಾಮು ಮುಸ್ಕುಳಿ ಕುರವೆಂದೆ ಮಗಾಮುಗ ಅದೆಮಿತಿ ಬೇನೆ ಕಮ ಆದಿ ಎಹಿನ್ ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಫಂಡಿಯಾರಕುವಿಸ್ ಏನ ಅಜನ್ ಕುಫಾವಾ ಕೋಟೆಗ್ಗ ಮಸ್ಕೆ ಕುರಾನಿ ದಾಯಿಮಿ ಸಿಫೆಗ್ಗ ಕಮವೆಸ್ ಬುಣೆಫಾವೆ वकी सियासी पार्टी के टिकट का वादा खोगें रईतों के मजलिहं इंतखाब मफहु इंतखाब वे दौर के तेरेगा इंतखाब वी पार्टी बदल को फिनम मेंबर के गोंडी के लेगो तंग हुशेले एंटी डिफेक्शन के बिल मजलिहं फास को फे पीपीएम के पार्लियामेंट्री ग्रुप लीडर अहमद दिहान हुसैन मणिक हुशेल विन बिल मजलिहं फासी वोट को बैर वडाने वी मेंबरों के अगलबियतों ರೈತುಗೆ ಮಜ್ಲಿಹುಂ ಎಂಡಿ ಡಿಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಗೆ ಬಿಲ್ ಫಾಸ್ ಕುರಿರು ಬಿಲವಣಿ ಕಮಿಟಿ ಮರಹಲಾಗ ಬೋಡತ್ ಇಸ್ಲಾಹತಗೆ ಗೆನಸ್ಫಾ ಎಂಡಿ ಡಿಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಗೆ ಬಿಲಕಿ ರೈತುಗೆ ಮಜ್ಲಿಹುಗೆ ಮೆಂಬರ್ನಕಿ ರೈತುಗೆ ಇಂತಿಖಾಬ್ ಕುರ ಬಯಕ ವಾಯಿರು ರೈತುಗೆ ಮಜ್ಲಿಹಕಿ ತಫಾತ್ ಸಿಯಾಸಿ ಅದಿ ಮಾಲಿ ನುಫೂಜುಂ ಎಕ್ಕಿಬಾಯ ಫಾವಾ ಅದಿ ಆಮು ರೈತುಗೆ ಮೆದುಗಾ ಇತುಬಾರಾ ಯಗಿನ್ ಕನ್ ಲಿಬಿಗೆಂ ಬಾ ತನಕಂ ಹೆದುಮ ಹುಶೆಳಿ ಬಿಲೆ ಬಿಲ್ಗಾ ಬುಣೆಫಾವಣಿ ರಾಜ್ಯಗ ಹಿಂಗಮುಂದ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ನಿಜಾಮ್ಗೆ ದಶುಂ ಬಕಿ ಸಿಯಾಸಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಟಿಕೆಟುಗ ಆವಾದಕೊ ರೈತುಗೆ ಮಜ್ಲಿಹ ಇಂತಿಖಾಬು ಮಫಹು ಎ ಇಂತಿಖಾಬ್ ದೌರುಗ ಇಂತಿಖಾಬ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ පාටිගේ මෙම්බරුකම වහිකොෆ්ෆිනම නුවත අමිල්ලිය වකි වෙජ්ජනම නුවත එහෙම් පාටියගේ මෙම්බරුකම වෙජ්ජනම එ මෙම්බරෙක්ගේ ගොඩි ගෙල්ලේන එකම මෙබිල්ගා මජිදෙහු ගොඩි නුගෙල්දේන හාලිතකෙවෙස් කණ්ඩාල අපාවේ එගොතුම් වකි පාටිය කන්නිස් පෙන්නවා ගොත මජිදෙහුගේ මෙම්බරුකම වාදකොගෙන් මිනිම මෙම්බර එගොතුගා ඉන්තිඛාබි මෙම්බරකු එ මෙම්බරකු ඉන්තිඛාබි දවරුගතලේගා සියාසී පාටියගේ මෙම්බර කවමු ගොඩි නුගෙල්දේන අදි මෙම්බරකු එ මෙම්බරකු ඉන්තිඛාබ සියාසී පාටියගේ විප්ලයින ಖಿಲಾಫುಮಾ ಎ ಮೆಂಬರ ಕುಣಿಸ್ಪೆವ್ವ ಸಿಯಾಸಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಯಕು ಎ ಮೆಂಬರ ಕಾಮೆದು ಸುಲೂಕಿ ಫಿಯವರ್ ಎಳುಮಕುಂವೆಸ್ ಎ ಮೆಂಬರಿಗೆ ಗೋಣಿನು ಗೆಲ್ದೇನೆಕಮ ಬಿಲ್ಗಾವನಿ ಬಯಾನ್ ಕೊಫ್ಫಾ ಮಿಬಿದ ಕಮಿಟಿ ಮರಹಲಾಗೆ ಗೆನೆಸ್ಫಾವಾ ಬೊಡತಿ ಇಸ್ಲಾತ ಹೊತರೇಗ ರೆಟ್ರೋಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಉಸೂಲು ಮಿದಿಹಾರುಗೆ ಜುಲಾಮೋಗೆ ತೇರವಣದುಗೆ ಫಹುಂ ಫೆಶೇಗೊತವನಿ ಹಿಮಣಾಫಾ මිමාද්දාගේ සබුන් ඉලෙක්ෂන්ස් කොමිෂන් ගොಂಡಿ ಗೆಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾವಾಕಮ ಮೀಗೆ ಕುರಿನ್ ಕಂಡಾಳ ಪಾವಾ ಬಾರ ಮೆಂಬರುಂಗೆ ಗೊಂಡಿ ಮಿಬಿಲ್ ಕಾನೂನು ಕವಮುಂ ಗೆಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಮಿಬಿದ ಗೆನೆಸ್ ಪಾವಾ ಇತುರ್ ಇಸ್ಲಾತ ಹೊತರೇಗ ಮಿಬಿಲ್ ಕಾನೂನು ಕವಮುಂ ಕಾನೂನು ದಶುಂ ಹದಂಜಿ ಕವಾದ ಹೆದುಮುಗೆ ಬಾರ ಇಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಮಿಷನ್ ಅದಿಬಿದಿ ಫಾ ಎಂಗೊತುಮನಿ ಉನಿಕೊಫಾ ಎನ್ನೆ ಡಿಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಿಲಾ ಬೆಹೆಗೊತುಂ ವಾಹಕದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೆಂಬರುಂ ವಿಸ್ವನಿ ಬಿಲ ತಾಯಿದು ಕುರಾಕಂ ಹಾಮ್ ಕೊಫಾ ಮಿದಿಹಾರುಗೆ ಜುಲೈಮಹುಗೆ ತೇರವಣದು ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟುಂ ಕೊಫಾವಾ ಹುಕುಮೆಗ್ಗ ಬುಣಿಫಾವನಿ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಎಂಟಿ ಡಿಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಾನೂನು ಬೇನು ವಾಕಮ ಅದಿ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಡೆಮೊಕ್ರಸಿ ಹರ್ದನಾ ಕುರುಮ ಎ ಕಾನೂನಕಿ ವರ ಮುಹಿಮ ಕಾನೂನಕಮವೆಸ್ ಎ ಹುಕುಮ್ಗಾ ಬಯಾನ್ ಕೊಫಾವೆ
ರೋಹಿಂಗ್ಯಾ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮುನ್ನಂ ಎಹಿವುಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರುಗೆ ಫರಾತಂ ಕುರಿಯ ಗೆಂದಿಯ ಫಂಡಲ್ ಲಿಬುಣು ಫಾಸಾ ಹಗ್ಗುವರಿ ಫರಾತ್ತಕ ಫೋರು ಕೊದ್ದೆವುಣುಕಂ ಕಶವರು ಕುರಾಣೆಕಮುಗೆ ಯಗಿಂಕಂ ಸರ್ಕಾರು ದಿಫೆ ಮಿ ಯಗಿಂಕಂ ಸರ್ಕಾರುಗೆ ಫರಾತಂ ದಿಫಾವಣಿ ಇಸ್ಲಾಮಿಕ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಎಂದರುನು ನೂಸ್ ಬಯಾನಿಗ ಮಿ ಬಯಾನುಗೆ ಇಸ್ಲಾಮಿಕ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಬುಣಫಾವಣಿ ರೋಹಿಂಗ್ಯಾ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮುನ್ನಂ ಎಹಿವುಮುಗೆ ಗೊತುಂ ಸರ್ಕಾರುಗೆ ಫರಾತಂ ಕುರಿಯ ಗೆಂದಿಯ ಫಂಡ 10.1 ಮಿಲಿಯನ್ ರುಫಿಯಾ ಲಿಬಿಫಾವಾ ಕಮಶಾ ಮೀಗೆ ತೆರೆಗ ಅಣಗುದು ಫಾಸಾ ಗೊತುಗ ಲಿಬುಣು ಫಾಸಾಯ ಏಕೇಕಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ವೆರಿನ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ಕುಂಫುಣಿತಕುಂ ಫಂಡ ದೆವ್ವಾಣೆಕಮ ವೌದ್ ವಡಾಂ ಫಾವಾ ಫಾಸಾ ವೆಸ್ಸಿಮೆನೆಕಮ ಅದಿ ಬಯಾನುಗ ಅವಣಿ ಏಕಿ ಫರಾತಕುಂ ಫಂಡ ದೆವ್ವಾಣೆಕಮ ವೌದ್ ಫಾಸಾ ಹೋದಾ ಫಾಸಾ ಜಮಾ ಕುರ್ಮಗ್ಗಿನ ಮಸೆಕ್ಕೆತ್ತಕ್ಕೆ ಕುರಿಕಮ ಇಸ್ಲಾಮಿಕ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ನೆರವು ಬಯಾನುಗ ಬುಣಫಾವನಿ ರೋಹಿಂಗ್ಯಾ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮುನ್ನಂ ಎಹಿವುಮ ಕುರಿಯ ಗೆಂದಿಯ ಹರಕ್ಯಾತ್ತಕುಂ ಲಿಬುಣು ಫಂಡುಗೆ ತಫ್ಸೀಲ್ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ತಕ 17 ನವೆಂಬರ್ 2017 ಬೇವುನು ನೂಸರಿಗೆ ಬದ್ದುಮ್ಗ ಹಿಸ್ಸಾ ಕುಫವಾಣಿಕಮ ಅದಿ ಮೀ ಗೆತುರು ಮಿಫಾಸಾ ಫೋನೋ ಮಟ್ಟಕ ಸರ್ಕಾರುಗೆ ಫರಾತಂ ಕುರಂಜೆ ಹುರಿಹಾ ಇದಾರಿ ಕಮ್ಮೆ ಮಿಹಾರು ನಿಮಿಫಾವಾ ಕಮಶಾ ವಿಎಂ ಅವಸ್ ಮುದ್ದತೆ ಗೆತೆರೆಗ ಮಿಫಾಸಾ ಫೋರು ಕೊದ್ದೆವೇತೋ ಮಸೆಕ್ಕೆ ಕುರಮುಂದಾ ಕಮಶಾ ಮಿಫಾಸಾ ಐಗೆ ಹಗ್ಗುವರಿ ಫರಾತಕ ಫೋರು ಕೊದ್ದೆವುನುಕಂ ಸರ್ಕಾರು ಕಶವರ್ ಕುರಾಣೆ ಕಮು ಯಗಿಂಕಂ ಇಸ್ಲಾಮಿಕ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ವಣಿ ದಿಫಾ ಇಸ್ಲಾಮಿಕ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಮಿಮೇರುಮು ಬಯಾನ ನೆರಫಾಮಿ ಬಣಿ ರೋಹಿಂಗ್ಯಾ ಫಂಡಲ್ ಲಿಬುಣು ಫಾಸಾಯ ವೀಗೊತೆ ನೇಗೆ ಕಮಬ್ಬುಣೆ ಹಗೀಗತ ಖಿಲಾಫ್ ವಾಹಕ್ತಕೆ ಮೀಡಿಯಾಗ ಫತುರಾ ಫಣಿಕೊಕ್ಕಂ ಫಾಹಕ್ಕೊಲ್ಲಿವೆ ರೋಹಿಂಗ್ಯಾ ಫಂಡ ಫಾಸಾ ಇಕ್ಕುರುಮ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಕಂಕೊಳ್ತಕುಗ ವಣಿ ಫುಳಾ ದಾಯಿರಾಗ ಹರಕ್ಯಾತ್ತಕೆ ಹಿಂಗಾಫ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾಗ ದಿರಿಯುಳೆ ದಿವೆಹೆಂ ವೀಸಾ ಆದಿ ಸಿಟಿ ಹೋದುಮಂ ಅಣ್ಣೈರು ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾಗೆ ಇಮಿಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಕವಾಯ್ದಾ ಎಗ್ಗೊವ್ವಾಗೊತುಗ ಮತಿಂ ಏಜೆಂಟು ಮೆದಿವೆರಿ ನುಕೊಂ ಅವಮ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾಗ ಹುಣ್ಣ ದಿವೆಹಿ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಂಬಸಿಂ ಅಂಗಾಫಿ එකං අංග දිවෙහි එම්බසි ನೆರನು ಬಯಾನೆಗ್ಗ ಬುಣಫಾವಣಿ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾಗ ದಿರಿಯುಳೆ ದಿವೆಹೆಂ ವೀಸಾ ನೆಗುಮ ವೀಸಾ ಆಕುರುಮುಗೆ ನಿಜಾಮ್ ಹರುದನಾ ಕುರುಮ ಏಕಂಗ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಮಿಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಮಿಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಯಕು ಮಶ್ವರಾ ಕುರಮುಂದಾ ಕಮಶಾ ಇಸ್ಲಾಹು ಕುರಂಜೆ ಕಂಕಂ ಹುರಿನಮ ಏಕನ್ ರಂಗಳು ಕುರುಮುಗೆ ಮಸೆಕ್ಕೆ ಫಶಾಫ್ವಾಕಮ ಎಗೊತುಂ ಕುರವನು ಮಶ್ವರಾತ ಕಫಾ ವೀಸಾ ಹೋದ್ದೆಮ ದಿವೆಹೆಂ ಅಮಿಲ್ಲೆ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಮೆದುವರಿ ನುಕೋ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾಗ ಇಮಿಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅವಮ ಅಂಗವಾಫಾಕಮವೆಸ್ ಎಂಬಸಿ ನೆರನು ಬಯಾನುಗವೆ එහෙන්නමවෙස් බරිහාලත් හුරිගොතුම් විසාගේ කංකමුග අමිල්ලේ නූලවේ ෆරාතේ නුවත ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ට් විසාග තිබේ කුඩකුදින්ගේ විසා සිටි එෆරාතුගේ නුවත කුදින්ගේ බෙලෙන්වරියා අවමුන් දූ කුරාණෙකමවෙස් එම්බසි වණි අංගාෆා ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ಮಹುಗೆ ಬಾರವಣ ದೂಹಂ ಫೆಶಿಗೆಂ ಮ್ಯೂಸೂತಕ ಅಮಲ್ ಕುರಂ ಫಶಾಫ್ ಮೆಣಿ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾಗೆ ಇಮಿಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಕವಾಯ್ದಾ ಎಗ್ಗೊತ ಅಮಲ್ ಕುರುಂ ಕಶವರ ಕುರ್ಮಟ್ಟಕಾಕಮ ಎಂಬಸಿ ನೆರನು ಬಯಾನುಗ ಫಾಹಕ್ ಕುಫಾವೆ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾಯಕಿ ಗಿನ ಅದದೆಗ್ಗೆ ದಿವೆಹಿ ವಜಂವೆರಿವೆ ಉಳೆ ಗೌಮೆ ಫರುಕೊಯ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟುಗ ಹಿಮೆನೆ ದರಿವರುಣ ಮೂದು ಅಡಿಗೆ ಫರುತಕ ಮಸ್ತಕ ಮುರಕತಂ ಹಮಲಲುಂ ಬಲಾಲುಂಗ ಫುರ್ಸತ್ ಹೋದಾದಿನ್ ಮುಗ ಬಾ ಮೊಹಿದ್ದೀನ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲು ಕಾಮಯಾಬ್ ಕಮಾಯಕು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲಾಫಿ
ಫರುಕೊಯ್ ಮಶ್ರೂಕಿ ಸ್ಕೂತೋಗ ದರಿವರುಣ ಹಾಸಕೊಗೆಂ ಫರುತಕ ಫರುತೋಗ ವಶಾಗೆಂವಾ ದಿರುಂತೋಗ ರೀತಕ ಎದಂತನುಗ ಮುಹಿಮುಕನ್ ದರಿವರುಣ ಅಂಗಾದಿನುಮ ಕುರಿಯಗೆಂದ ಮಶ್ರೂವೆ ಎಡ್ಯುಕೇಷನ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಗ ಅಮಾಜಕಿ ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ದರಿವರಕವೆಸ್ ಮದುವೆಗೆಂ ಆಹಾರಕ ಎಫಹಾರ್ ಫರುತ ಬಲಾಲುಂಗ ಫುರ್ಸತ್ ಫಹಿಕೊದ್ದಿನು ಅದಿ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟುಗ ದಶಂ ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕುಜ್ಜಕಿವೆಸ್ ರೀಫ್ ಎಂಬೆಸೆಡರ್ ಕಂ ಹದ ಫರುತಕ ಮುರಕತಂ ಅದಿ ಉಕಾಲವೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಮದುಕುರುಮ ಗೊತುಂ ದರಿವರುಣ ಬಾರೋಳ ಹರಕಾಯತಕೆ ಕುರಿಯಗೆಂದು ಮರಾವಾ ಫವೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಹುರಿಯಾ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಶಾಮಿಲ್ವಾಗುತ್ತ ಫೆಶಿ ಫರ್ಕೋಯ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಮುಹಿಮ ಬ್ಯಾಕಮ್ಗವ ಹುರಿಹಾ ದರಿವರುನಕಿ ಮಿಯಾಹರ್ ನಿಮೇರು ಫರ್ ಬಲಾಫಾವ ದರಿವರಕಂ ಹೆದುಮ ಕುರಿಯಗೆಂದ ಹರ್ಕಾಯ್ ಮೊಹಿಯುದ್ದೀನ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಹಾಸಿಲ್ ಕೊಫವನಿ ಎ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಹೈಸತೇಗ ದರಿವರುಂ ಎಕಿ ದುವಸ್ಮತಿ ಬ್ಯಾವರಿ ಕೊಗ್ಗೆಂ adi miyake school ki voice for the ocean school gotgawani himan afa winning league the dive center kamawa divers lodge adi modubula dive center adi save the beach jamiyage hitirikamaik wi masake ko nimali ko me duwahako school he snorkeling nagen gosken kama muhiddin school bune adi masake efaratun kofawadi mulin hiles habaha PSM News සමවදුමත් දෙවම මොහිද්දීන් ස්කූල් ගේ ඩෙපියුටි ප්‍රින්සිපල් නාසිමා අලිමනික් විදාල්වි විමසකදකි තිමාශීක කංකම දරිවරුන් අහලුවරි කුරුමා හාසගොතෙග්ගා කණුතක ෆරතන් හිමායි කුරා එම්බැසිඩරුන් උපෙද්දුම කුරමුදා මසකතෙක්කම
තිරිස් හැද්දුවස් කුරින් අලුමෙන් ෆෙට්ටි මි ෆරුකෝ ස්නෝකලින් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් ගේ නිම්මු මෙත් මි ෆාහ කුරවෙනි දෙමි ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් කි මිනිස්ට්‍රි ඔෆ් එඩියුකේෂන් ගේ ෆරාතුම් ෆරුකෝ ගේ නමුග මි තිමාවශීක කංකමක් කුදින් අහලුවරි කුරන් හාසගොතෙග්ගා කණුතක ෆරතන් හිමායක් කුරා එම්බැසිඩර්ස් තකේ ගොතුග කුදින් හෙදුම කුරා මාසෙක්කතෙග්ගේ තෙරෙන් හිඟා එක්කම මි ස්නෝකලින් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් කි දැන් මියහරු මිනිස්ට්‍රි ඔෆ් එඩියුකේෂන් ගේ මාස් මියහරු නිමුග කුරින් දිවි රාජ්‍යගේ හුරිහා ස්කූල් තකේ ගේ හුරිහා කුදින ෆාරුෆෙනි ෆහරුම්
Muhyiddin School ga farko project ni maluma bevi haflai fo PSM News maluma devamun Minister of Education Dr. Ashal Shihan Bidalvi me project ga maqsad ki tawlimi nizam ge himene bata dariwarun amali tajriba ko daskurumai ko rajya ge thima wetta kanfartan himai kurumuga dariwarun ga bawerun ituru kurun kama
muli mujtama guligen e rashuge terega mikama guligen wara bodu madukamen annani kaman algon mennan hama kapul kurave දැන් මේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් තරේක හිමෙනගෙන් දානේ හැම අල්ගොම්මගේ ખાસ හිතරකම බේනු වා කුදින් වෙස් එහෙම වීම ඒ වෙස් අල්ගොම් මෙන් වරන් හින් හැම ජෙකම කුදින්න මිහාරු මේ එම්බැසඩර්ස් ගොත වීම ස්කූල් ලකි ෆරු රක්කා තිරුකුරා ස්කූල් ලක වීම අල්ගොම් මෙන් මේ ලිබෙනි ඒගේ මේ දිදේ එහෙම ස්කූල් ලකුන් දෙන් ඒ අහරු තරේක මේ ෆරුත සාෆ් කුරුමා මේ बीच साफ कुरुमा राष्ट्र तेरे साफ कुरुमा ए हुरिहा मसेकेतक सम कुरमुन गेंदा
farko project ko dashong mimas nimer huriha school ga plastic kotala femfuli ga badalga ehenta ke tibenu kurma hamji fave adami project ko dashong jamaata faida huri tima weta golun huri eki harakata school takon isnagagen kuriye gendana kama education ministry bune farko program ki school toga dariwan tima watta ratte kon adi fartakan libe gellon ekudinna angadi fara ratte ekudin gotuga heduma minister of education kuriye genda program adi program dashong far benun kuru plastic benun kuru madukurma mifada itur program tavs mi farko program teren kuriye genduma wani hamjifa amek fa kolanje farko program rajya huriya school thega kuriye gendairo muhiddin school ki mi program frotama nimi school vilmalen hussein makhtum PSM news
ශ්‍රී ලංකා කෑරී උපදිෆාවා කොළිගඩු මිහාරු රාජ්‍යයේ හුළඟ උතුර මිස්රාබ් ජහෆා කමෂා ಕುರಿಯಂಗೊ ಸೌವಿಸ್ ಗಡಿರು ತೆರೆಗ ಕೊಳೆಗಂಡುಗೆ ಬಾರು ಗದವಾಣಿಕಮ ಮೆಟೋಫಿ ಹುಂಬುನೆಫೆ ಮಿ ಕೊಳೆಗಂಡುಗೆ ಸೌಬುಂ ಮೆದು ರಾಜ್ಯ ತೆರೆಯ ಉತುರುಗೆ ಅತಳುತಕುಗೆ ಮತಿ ಮಿಹಾರು ವಿಸ್ ವಿಸ್ಸಾರ ವಿಲಾತಂ ಉಫೆದೆಮುಂ ಅಣ್ಣಕಮ ಮೆಟೋಫಿ ಹುಂಬುನೆ ಮಿ ಅತಳುತಕ ಗುಗುರುಮಾಯಕು ವಿಸ್ಸಾರ ಕುರಾಣೆ ಕಮಲ್ಲಫಾ ಕುರವೆ ಕಮವೆಸ್ ಮೆಟೋಫಿ ಹುಂವಾಣಿ ಬುನಫ ದಿವೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಗುತುರ ಅಮೆದುತೆರೆ ವ್ಯಾಜೆಹೆನೆಕಮ ಮೆಟೋಫಿ ಹುಂ ಲಫಾ ಕುರಣಿ ದಿಹ ಮೇಲ ವಿಹಿ ಮೇಲ ದೆಮೆದುಗೆ ಬಾರಮನುಗ ಎಹನ್ನಮ ವಿಸ್ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ದೆಕುಣುಗ ಅತಳುತಕ ಮೂಸುಂ ಆಮುಗೊತೆಗ ರಂಗಳುವಾಣೆ ವಿಮಹುಗೆ ಗಾರವನದು ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಗುಫೆದುನು ಮಿ ಕೊಳಿಗಂಡುಗೆ ವಿಸ್ಸಾರ ಗಸರು ರಾಜ್ಯ ದಣಿ ಕುರಮು मियाँ साहब PSM न्यूज़ के मिगड़ी के खबर दंडवानी मुनी खबर बिल्लवीते शुक्रिया अस्सलाम वालेकुम
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
إنني أنا الله لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدني وأقم الصلاة لذكري.
هم كشورون تيمن رسكلانجي الله تيمن رسكلانج منوي إله كنوه فاي تيمن رسكلانجي كليغ فان ألقن كرباشه أي تيمن رسكلانجي هندو مكوره ومتكا نماد قائم كرباشه
الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا
Hamakashavarun namadaki mumin takunge matcha wagutu khanda eligin oi farle kamgave
الله أكبر الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا مسلما وما أنا من المشركين إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا من المسلمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا لك الحمد ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما شئت من شيء بعد الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر رب اغفر لي وارحمني واجبرني وارفعني وارزقني واهدني وعافني واعف عني الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا لك الحمد ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما شئت من شيء بعد الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر رب اغفر لي وارحمني واجبرني وارفعني وارزقني واهدني وعافني واعف عني الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر التحيات المباركات الصلوات الطيبات لله السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا لك الحمد ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما شئت من شيء بعد الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر رب اغفر لي وارحمني واجبرني وارفعني وارزقني واهدني وعافني واعف عني الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا لك الحمد ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما شئت من شيء بعد الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر رب اغفر لي وارحمني واجبرني وارفعني وارزقني واهدني وعافني واعف عني الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر التحيات المباركات الصلوات الطيبات لله السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آل محمد وأزواجه وذريته كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد وأزواجه وذريته كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم اغفر لما قدمت وما أخرت وما أسررت وما أعلنت وما أسرفت وما أنت أعلم به مني أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر لا إله إلا أنت اللهم إني أعوذ بك من عذاب القبر ومن عذاب النار ومن فتنة المحيا والممات ومن فتنة المسيح الدجال اللهم إني ظلمت نفسي ظلما كبيرا كثيرا ولا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت فاغفر لي مغفرة من عندك وارحمني إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
ಅಳ್ಗಣ್ಮೆಂಗೆ ದರಿಫುಳು ರಾ ಇಂಗುರಾದು ಹೆಪಿ ಲೈಫ್ ಮುಹಮ್ಮದ್ ವಿಲ್ದಾನ್ ವಣಿ ದೆಹಾಸ್ ಅಶಾರ ಮಾಚ್ ಹೆವ್ವಣದುವ ಹುಣಿಯಾವೆಫಾ ವೀಮಾ ಮುಹಮ್ಮದ್ ವಿಲ್ದಾನ್ಗೆ ಮಚ್ಚಂ ಎವ್ವೆಸ್ ದರಂಜನ್ವತ ವಸೀಯತೆ ವಾನಮ ದೆಹಾಸ್ ಅಶಾರ ಮಾಚ್ ಒಣೆತಿರಿಹುಗೆ ಕುರಿಂ ಅಳ್ಗಣ್ಮೆನಾ ಗುಳುವ್ವಾ ಎಕನ್ ನಿಮ್ಮೆವುಂ ಎದೆಂ ಆಯಿಲಾಗ್ ಫರಾತುಂ ಅಬ್ದುಲ್ಲಾ ಸಾಯೀದ್ ನುವೆಂ ಎಕೆಂ ಹತೆ ಸುಮೆಫ್ಫಹೆಂ ಹತೆಂ ಹಯೆ ಶಾಹಿದಾ ಅಬ್ದುಲ್ ರಶೀದ್ ನುವೆಂ ಹಯೆಂ ಹಯೆ ಸುಮೆಂ ಹತೆಂ ಹತೆ ಸುಮೆ ಅಳ್ಗಣ್ಮೆಂಗೆ ಬಪ್ಪ ಹದ್ದುಮ್ಮತಿಗೆ ಆಗೆ ಇಬ್ರಾಹಿಂ ಹಸನ್ ಫುಳುವಣಿ ದೆಹಾಸ್ ಅಶಾರ ಮಾಚ್ ಹತರ್ವಣದುವ ಹುಣಿಯಾವೆಫಾ ವೀಮಾ ಬಪ್ಪಗೆ ಮಚ್ಚಂ ಎವ್ವೆಸ್ ದರಂಜನ್ವತ ವಸೀಯತೆ ವಾನಮ ದೆಹಾಸ್ ಅಶಾರ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಫನರಾಗೆ ಕುರಿಂ ಅಳ್ಗಣ್ಮೆನಾ ಗುಳುವ್ವಾ ಎಕನ್ ನಿಮ್ಮೆವುಂ ಎದೆಂ ಆಯಿಲಾಗ್ ಫರಾತುಂ ಹಸನ್ ರಾಯೀಫ್ ಹತೆನ್ ನುವೆತ್ತಿನೆ ದೇ ತಿನೆ ಫಹೆ ಅಲಿ ರಾಯೀಫ್ ಹತೆನ್ 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 ಎಕೆನ್ ಎಕೆ ನುವೆಂ ಹತೆ ಐಷತ್ ರಾಯೀಫಾ ಹತೆನ್ ನುವೆಂ ಎಕೆ ತಿನೆ ಫಹೆ ನುವೆಂ ಎಕೆ ಇಸ್ಮಾಯಿಲ್ ರಾಯೀಫ್ ಹತೆನ್ ಹತೆನ್ ಹತೆ ತಿನೆ ಫಹೆನ್ ಎಕೆ ದೇ ಅಳ್ಗಣ್ಮೆಂಗೆ ದತ್ತ ಹಾದಾಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಕಡದು ಫೆಂಗಸ್ತಶ್ಗೆ ಮರಿಯಂ ಹಸನ್ ವಣಿ ದೆಹಾಸ್ ಅಶಾರ ಮಾಚ್ ದಿಹವನದುವ ಹುಣಿಯಾವೆಫಾ ವೀಮಾ ಮಿಮರ್ಹೂಮಾಗೆ ಮಚ್ಚಂ ಎವ್ವೆಸ್ ದರಂಜನ್ವತ ವಸೀಯತೆ ವಾನಮ ದೆಹಾಸ್ ಅಶಾರ ಮೇ ಎಕೆಗ್ಗೆ ಕುರಿಂ ಅಳ್ಗಣ್ಮೆನಾ ಗುಳುವ್ವಾ ಎಕನ್ ನಿಮ್ಮೆವುಂ ಎದೆಂ ಆಯಿಲಾಗ್ ಫರಾತುಂ ಇಬ್ರಾಹಿಂ ರಮೀಜ್ ಹತೆನ್ ಹಯೆನ್ ನುವೆ ಸುಮೆನ್ ಅಶೆನ್ ಅಶೆನ್ ಹಯೆ ಹುಸೇನ್ ಶರೀಫ್ ಹತೆನ್ ಹತೆನ್ ಹಯೆ ಫಹೆನ್ ನುವೆ ಹತೆನ್ ಅಶೆ
ದಿರಿಯುಳು ಮಂಗ ಸಳಿಬದದ ಮೀಹುಂಗೆ ಗದರಾಯ ಲೋಬೆ ಕುರಿಯದ್ದಾನ್ ದಿಬುಣು ಇಬ್ಬರು ආරෙන්නම් හොදා දෙනි Maldivian Idol.
Diragu presents Maldivian Idol, powered by Allied Insurance, Al-Mudish, travel partner Maldivian, co-sponsor Plus, Villa College, Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Mi avas tojjeifawa diriulumuga eki mihun avasveganneni eki kankan kuruma komme kamekkuriyas kaamiyabuma emihage emme bodu ekuwereki emihage hashigandu hedi boduvuma calcium protein beenuve rangalu quality kire beenuve Al-Mudish quality meeru kire
Yotun algune mi supermarket o gaaganda kammi 70% mudalaki tibe fulun kahala kudi efari werin atun nagaang alguna dikkachi ei alguna de support
almen qawmuga naga kiya mitibeni waki efari werin take mimihun himayekon abadu mimihun na toye efari kurumge fursatoti
eta gune miha rimara kurun hudda nagala ginavich homme duwaha kohen ebade a faratan gege hadan ei efaratta kam midenne gota fursat libi fotima
mi fasar terega iktisadi goton hasil kuram beenum villanu dandi hasil kurevunto adi kobato hasil kuram beenum villanu dange
vijaladununga wara bodu bodeti kantattake rajya kodde iruga e china ge faratun hunna demand ta kobato
divera taraggi kura gotaki duniya bada ganna mit tasavvur hilambu kuram media ge beenum hifagen bayak kura masakkata alon me raddu dinumaki bura masakkata ehennama is alon menge position wara saaf engeta
ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ರಂಗಳು ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಪೂರಿ ಹಮ ಕವರೇಜ್ ಗೆಣಸ್ತೇಣಿ ಆಳ್ಗೊಂಡು ಮೈ ಅಳುಗೊಂಡುಗೆ ಟೀಮ್ ತಯಾರು
ಲೆಕ್ತಕ್ಕೆ ಹವಾಸಾಯನ್ ಬೇರುಗೆ ವಾಹಕತಕಾಯಕು ರಹ ಹೆವರು ಕವರೇಜ್ ಕಾ ಅಳ್ಮೆನ್ ತಯಾರು ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ ಗವಾದಕೂರ ಟೀಮ್ ತೋಗೆ ತಯಾರಿ ತಕ ಮಂಜರ್ ತಕ ಎಕಿಯಕಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ತ ಆಳ್ಗೊಂಡು ಮೆಂಗೆ ಕವರೇಜ್
ತಜ್ರುಬಾಕಾರ ಅನಲಿಸ್ಟುಂಗೆ ಇತುರು ಮಾಲೂಮಾತ್ ಮುಸ್ಸಂದಿ ಜುವಾನ್ ಕುರಿಮಾವ್ಗೆ ಅನಲಿಸ್ಟುಂ ಅಳ್ಗೊಂಡು ಮೆನ್ ತಾರಫ್ ಕುರಾಣಂ
ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ ಕ ದಿವೆಹಿಲ್ಲಗ ಫೋರಿ ಅಳ್ಗೊಂಡು ಮೆಂಗ್ ಎ ಫೋರಿಗ ಗೆಣಸ್ತೇಲ
डेजन्स के हुरिहा गिनतिया का बट्टन कुरे फावा शोता गेनिस्तिन मुगा पीएसएम स्पोर्ट्स के तजुर्बाकार टीम को अल्गोनस मीडी तैयारा तफात क्विज तक सोशल मीडिया के फोरिया स्टूडियो में बेरों अल्गोन बदलो कुरान
अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम Bismillahirrahmanirrahim wa Qur'anan faraqnahu litaqra'ahu 'alan nasi 'ala mukthin wa nazzalnahu tanzila Adikalega fanu mistakun na visnehen laslahun kiyawa vidalve devumataka waki kotiman raskalange Qur'an baba levime aditiman raskalange Qur'an
Good afternoon. In this session, we would like to share with you what President Yamin's government has over the last 4 years, what we have done on the aspect of human capital development, healthcare services, infrastructure in housing, environment, and on these areas we would like to share what we have done during these 4 years. With me we have Minister of Education, Dr. Shyam, Minister of Health, Mr. Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim, and Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, Dr. Muhammad Moiz, and myself, Minister for Environment and Energy. My name is Tariq Ibrahim. First of all, I would like to give the floor to Minister of Education, Dr. Aish Shams, to share the what she has to share with you on her sector.
Thank you, Minister. Good evening, everybody. Let me try to present a preview or a snapshot of what has happened over the past years in terms of the provision of educational services in this country. Maldives has outperformed other countries in South Asia region in its education indicators, despite the country's challenges associated with a highly dispersed population scattered across about 200 islands. President Yamin's government has given its highest priority for the provision of quality education. In the last 4 years, the government has spent over Maldivian rupiah 10.3 billion for education. This is on average more than 12% of the total annual public expenditure. Maldives has achieved universal primary education with gender parity at all levels of education. Measures taken to address inequities in the quality of education, especially on narrowing the gap between rural and urban populations, through upgrading and expanding educational facilities and training and deployment of more qualified teachers, have produced tangible results. The overarching education policy of the current government, No Child Left Behind, reaffirms the government's commitment in ensuring inclusive quality learning opportunities which caters to the needs of every child to reach their full potential. As such, all children are now guaranteed with 14 years of free education, starting at the age of 4 in pre-primary education through till they complete higher secondary education at age of 18 or 19, which includes 10-year compulsory cycle from grades 1 to 10. At present, there are 214 schools which provide education from pre-primary to higher secondary, out of which 22 are in the capital Male, and 192 schools in the atolls which cater for over 80,000 students. A near 100% net enrollment ratio is maintained for pre-primary and primary, and an above 80% NER is maintained at secondary level. A comprehensive inclusive education policy also ensures and facilitates the education provision for children with disabilities across the nation. Currently, there are special education needs trained teachers in all schools across the country, catering to over more than 2,000 students with special needs. These special needs units cater to children in mainstream schools, but who require additional interventions which are not available in the mainstream setting. Furthermore, in line with the school attendance policy, every school-age child is being identified and tracked, monitoring attendance as well as identifying potential risks of dropout or expulsion. A new value and skill-based curriculum with clearly defined learning outcomes and key competencies has been rolled out from 2015 with the focus on making learning more relevant and preparing students for the 21st century. The new curriculum has introduced a vocational training pathway at secondary level where students can select vocational courses from grade 9 onwards if their aptitudes are inclined towards skill-based learning. Currently, about 47% of children in the secondary level follows some form of technical education. Opportunities for vocational education through the TVET programs, such as work-based apprenticeship programs supported by virtual learning, has been expanded to reach young men and women all across the archipelago, providing them the skills required for employment. Through the programs, over 6,000 young people have been skilled in various technical fields. Similarly, higher education opportunities have been expanding with the establishment of 2 public universities and through growing number of private higher education institutions, both in Male and in the atolls. Under the government initiative to expand tertiary education opportunities, the percentage of students at higher education institutions has now increased from 19% 4 years ago to 32%. The government aims to increase the enrollment to 60% by 2020. Financial schemes in the form of scholarships and student loan schemes support students to pursue training in the fields of their choice in the country and overseas. Over the past 4 years, the government has provided more than 7,000 opportunities for our young people to facilitate a more productive, skilled population to drive the economy. Quality education can only be achieved through qualified teachers and through the creation of inclusive and effective learning environments for all. Continuous professional development opportunities are provided to uplift the quality of in-service teachers, and a minimum qualification requirement for all teachers to hold at least a diploma has been set and enforced since 2015. A further target for all teachers to hold at least an undergraduate degree in the profession by 2020 has been set, and teachers are being supported to attain these qualifications. Innovative means for teacher training, such as virtual training, video conferencing, and teacher resource centers are being adapted to overcome the challenges faced by the remoteness of the islands. On average, investments of over MVR 400 million per annum has been made since 2014 to build and upgrade education facilities which are safe, child-friendly, inclusive, and conducive for learning. President Yamin promised a revolutionary change to the education system and services of Maldives, and that is what we are witnessing today. The number of students who sat for GC O-level exams and passed in 5 subjects last year increased to 77%, which was 49% in 2013, an increment of 28%. A groundbreaking education information management system, MIMIS, today facilitates the Ministry of Education towards evidence-based decision-making. Using modern technology to enhance education, the Digital Education Project ensures all schools with connectivity and all students and teachers having access to a tablet computer this year. Let me begin by an introduction of that, and then maybe we can discuss other issues later.
Yeah, thank you, Minister. Now I would like to give the floor to Minister of Health, Mr. Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Distinguished invited delegates, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good afternoon to you all. I am pleased to have this opportunity to share with you some of the successes the current government have achieved in providing better health for the people of Maldives. Let me also take the pleasure of welcoming you to the Maldives, in fact, the first country in the WHO Southeast Asia region free of lymphatic filariasis to have beaten measles, defeated polio, and conquered malaria. This year, inshallah, our people will celebrate elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV and syphilis. Our target to eliminate TB is set for 2020, 8 years ahead of WHO target of 2030. 5 years ago, in the year 2013, His Excellency President Yamin came to presidential election with a holistic agenda: yes, youth, economy, and security. The President's predominantly economic agenda has always kept a focus on health at the core, and he has proven through action that health is indeed wealth. I am referring to strategic, well thought out actions resulting in tremendous achievements. Actions that has brought significant changes to the provision of healthcare in the Maldives and to the well-being of our people. For instance, last 4 years, the government expenditure on health has increased to a dramatic 130%. This has led to an average spending of $810 per head per annum, an amount that is double the average spending of upper middle income countries for health. What does this mean? Most importantly, what is the relevance of these figures to the everyday life of our people? If we consider healthcare resources, today, for the first time in the history of Maldives, every inhabited island irrespective of population size, has a doctor, raising the number of doctors from 16 for each 10,000 population in 2013 to 26 doctors for each 10,000 at present. There are 78 nurses for every 10,000 population now, compared to 64 in 2014. Also, there is an increase in hospital beds close to that of developed countries. Similarly, there has been significant improvement in the access to medicine and ambulance services. As you know, Maldives faces many challenges due to geographical dispersion of the islands. The achievements of this government is that we have been able to overcome this challenge to a large extent by introducing sea ambulance services nationwide and establishment of a government-funded pharmacy in each inhabited island. The commitment of the government to the health has meant that out-of-pocket expenditure has reduced from 49% to 29% in recent 4 years' time. Government-funded health insurance in 2009 covered only 30% of the population. Today, everybody is covered by the government-funded health insurance scheme called Husnua Asanda, introduced by His Excellency President Yamin in the year 2014. The most revolutionary change by far to the health sector will be the 25-story Dharmavant Hospital that I invite you to visit today after this session. With the completion of this megastructure, we aim to expand and elevate healthcare provision to new heights that with the state-of-the-art technology and improved services comparable to international standards. You visited IGMH today. IGMH itself has seen considerable upgrading in the last few years with establishment of a new National Cardiac Center in 2016, Uro-Renal Fertility Center and Oncology Center in 2017, just to mention few. The people do not have to travel abroad for these treatments today, as they did before, which is a huge relief to families. A new tertiary hospital will be opened in southernmost island, Addu City, this year, a first again in terms of provision of tertiary level healthcare to the atolls. Also, our very first medical college will be established this year, an action we hope will contribute to the betterment of healthcare services in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, we have tackled access to healthcare very successfully during the last 4 years. Now, His Excellency President Yamin's focus is on the provision of quality healthcare. Maldives is an MDG plus country, now focusing on SDG goals. We have already launched a 10-year health master plan to address emerging health challenges, focusing mainly on quality. His Excellency President Yamin's policies acknowledge that quality healthcare is costly, but poor healthcare costs even more, especially for a rapidly growing economy like Maldives. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Minister. Now I would like to hand over the floor to Dr. Muhammad Moiz, Minister of Housing and Infrastructure. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome you all to the Maldives to experience and to know the real story of the development that's happening in the Maldives. As you have already spent few hours in the capital city seeing some of the recent developments that has come to the capital city, you would have already started to grasp the level of development that has been seen in the Maldives since the last few years, since President Yamin came to the government. You can see that the people of Maldives are very peace-loving, very content with the state of development that's happening in the country. This government has the philosophy of bringing transformational change in terms of social and economic development. The Maldives is, as you can understand, having a unique geography in which the islands are sparsely, widely scattered across the Indian Ocean, with over 200 islands being inhabited. Several hundred more are uninhabited. So the government has a responsibility of catering for all these nearly 200, exactly it's 187 islands in which people are living. However, this government has taken this task and done an unprecedented level of development projects over the last 4 years. Even now you can see from the information that you get that in each island there's an infrastructure development project being carried out even as we speak. From the sector that I'm looking after, that is mainly dealing with some of the major infrastructure development and housing sector development, I just want to mention a few things regarding this. For example, the safe access to these islands. As you can understand, the Maldives is very vulnerable in terms of the environmental issues, and on that topic the Environment Minister will be speaking. I just want to mention about the safe access. This government over the last 4 years have developed harbors and safe access in more than 100 islands out of these 187, which completes almost in the next, when we finish all the ongoing access facility development, harbor development projects in the next 4 months, all the islands in the Maldives, all the islands where people are living will have a safe access. That was a target that was set by President Yamin when he came to power in 2013, when he went to meet the people and pledged to the people 4 years ago that he will develop a safe access harbors in all the islands. So that's a major achievement, given the fact that in 2004 the Maldives experienced, among all the other South Asian countries, the effect of the tsunami. Several islands had their harbors been destroyed. And also you can see a lot of road development projects being carried out across the country. And in addition to that, a lot of housing development projects being carried out. I think tomorrow you'll be visiting Hulu Male, which is the artificial island that is being developed, totally reclaimed. This government added more land to that project. Nearly 240 hectares of land has been reclaimed in Hulu Male, and it's been developed as the youth city with a lot of housing, lot of opportunities for youth and everyone to enjoy a better living. So this youth city development is one of the major projects that is being carried out. Even now as we speak, I think tomorrow you'll see there are several housing projects that are going on. Several housing projects, and our target is over the next 2 years to complete more than 16,000 housing units. More than 16,000 housing units is a lot of housing units compared to in comparison to the population of the country. The whole population of the country is roughly 370 to 380,000 people, and out of that roughly 40% live in this Male capital region. So our target is to cater for everyone who needs social housing, medium to high-end housing, everyone in the housing sector, everyone who needs a housing will get a house, or will be provided the opportunity to access housing in the next couple of years. So when these housing units are being developed, roughly 160,000 people will be able to afford affordable housing in Male region and also across the country. Even now across the country, there are several housing projects that are being carried out. Some have been completed, some are nearly been completed. And these housing units are especially for those areas where people need affordable housing. So a lot of housing projects, a lot of infrastructure development projects are happening. And one of the iconic infrastructure development project that is ongoing is, as you would have seen already, is the link between Male and Hulle. The bridge construction is fast ongoing, and we aim to complete this project in the next 5 months. So by August, around August, this project will be completed, and it will connect with the youth city. Male will be connected through the international airport to the youth city. So this is one of the dream projects of every Maldivian citizen. So welcome to the Maldives, and I hope you'll be able to spend some more time to experience the real story of Maldives. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Now it's my turn. I'm the Minister for Environment and Energy. I would like to share some of the work that we have done on my mandate. First of all, as you know, water and sanitation, we have 187 islands in the Maldives, and each island has its own, it's very dispersed, and all the facilities on every island is it's individual. So water and sewerage sector is of strategic importance and vital for the country's economic and social development. As such, the government recognizes the urgent need to develop the sector and provide safer water supply and adequate sanitation for all in these islands. Water resources in the Maldives are limited, given the shallow freshwater lens in the islands and the lack of surface fresh water. Additionally, the pressure on groundwater have been increasing, particularly in the urban centers. As you know, we would like to highlight over the last 4 years, when in 2013, before President Yamin assumed office, there were about only 6 islands, including Male. There was proper piped water network systems throughout Maldives, only 6 islands, which is about 25% of the population had proper piped water networks. But over the last 4 years, we were able to complete new 20 islands. We have completed 20 islands with piped water supply, and there's ongoing 26 islands. Work is being carried out, which we will be completing at the end of this year. So that is the progress that we have achieved on water supply systems, piped water network system on all the islands. We would like to then go on to the sewerage and sanitation systems in the Maldives. Prior to 2013, before the President Yamin assumed office, 31 islands, including Male, had proper sanitation or sewerage system, pipe work laid through in Maldives, only 31 islands. And if you look at now, up to now, we have already completed during the last 4 years, 20 islands have completed the sewerage systems, and there's ongoing 46 islands ongoing work, which will be completed this year. End of the year, we will be completing. So by end of 2018, we would have actually achieved piped water system, piped sewerage system, or proper sewerage system to 75% of the population, from 31%. Actually, it's 37% of the population. So from 37% of the population, we would have achieved 75% of the population with proper sanitation and sewerage system. Sewerage system. Next, I would like to talk about the waste management in Maldives. Especially in Malé and in Maldives, waste management was an area that was never seriously taken by any of the government. It was a huge issue to the environment, and also it was a health risk to a lot of people living in a lot of islands. So President Yamin's government, this government, when he came to power last 4 years, we were able to achieve a tremendous achievement on the area of waste management. If you look at Malé, until last September, that was how waste is carried from homes, from individual flats to the waste management or the yard. That's how the people carry waste open with plastic bags, and now you don't see them. It's already we have banned them, and now the proper waste management systems are used throughout Malé. And one of the other areas which we have actually been looking at is the islands. We have, as I said, we have about 186 islands. From the islands and also from Malé, we carry with proper landing craft waste from Malé city and also from the islands to the regional waste management centers. Waste is carried in proper landing crafts. This we received just a few days ago. It was newly built and brought to Malé, and we have started using these landing crafts to take waste from Malé to the waste management centers. As you know, previously on the islands there is no proper waste management or proper waste disposal systems, but now over the last 4 years we have been able to do a proper waste management policy, and one of the areas that we are focusing is to have on each island, out of the 176 islands, on each island we will be building island waste management center before the end of this year. So we have already completed several waste management centers, and we will be at the end of this year we'll have on each island a proper waste management center with segregation facilities and composting facilities. Whatever is not compost or whatever is not properly managed on the island itself will be removed from the islands with the use of landing crafts and taken to the regional waste management center, where they have the proper incineration facilities, where it will be incinerated and properly discharged or properly kept on the proper landfills. One of the areas which we have issues at the moment, we had issues in the moment, is the land disposal facility near Malé, which is called Tilafushi, and it is usually there we do all this time the method of disposing is open burning, which was a very big health hazard especially to Malé and this region. But we have now been able to hopefully this year, by mid this year, we will be able to stop burning, and we will be also starting to develop the proper waste management center in this region. I would like to highlight that all this time, all these years, even the medical waste was also not properly discharged or properly disposed. But now we have separate incinerator installed. Over the last 1 year we have installed for medical waste and hazardous waste as well. So it will be now will be disposed or managed properly with proper incineration facilities. This is what we do in the islands, composting, and each island will have a composting facility where what it can be composted on the island, it will be managed on the island. And we are doing training for this kind of composting. We have already trained up more than 80 persons from different islands. Already we have trained, and training will still go on. And this is the other equipments and the being delivered to the islands for their waste management centers, like the dustbins. And the next is the energy sector. As you know, we import fuel from to generate electricity, and we have been one of the main targets, or one of the main targets is when President Yamin came to office is to achieve 24-hour universal access to electricity and 24-hour power on all the islands, 7 islands. So that is now achieved. We have sustainable universal access to electricity on all the 187 islands. That was one of the pledges which President Yamin has pledged, and we have achieved that. And we have also been increasing the to have more sustainable energy on all the islands. We are now embarking on to provide solar power on most of the islands. So one of the target is to have 30% of daytime requirement of all the islands from renewable energy, and we have started on this. When President Yamin came to office, we had only 2 megawatts of electricity throughout the nation, throughout the island, but our target now is to have 15 megawatts by end of this year. We have already achieved 6 megawatts, and the rest are being installed. So from 2013, and we have to achieve 15 megawatts at the end of this year. So that's our target, and it's being achieved now. We have already installed additional 6 megawatts already installed and being used. And the other areas that we are working on is to have energy efficiency on all the equipments that is being used, and government is helping all the islands, and also especially on all the households to achieve energy efficiency. Over the last 4 years, government has distributed 343,700 tube lights, LED tube lights, to all the 175 islands for their road lighting over the last 4 years. So in order to have more efficiency on their road lighting systems. And we have also now, it's distributed almost 493,000 bulbs, LED bulbs to households. Each household will get 5 LED bulbs. It's free. So actually, in order to promote energy efficiency, so this is what has been done on this sector. We are also developing the mini grid systems on every island to make sure it is efficient. These are some of the pictures that we have. It's already that over there is one of the biggest solar panel roofs in Maldives, the first one. And the other area which I would like to look into is the coastal protection system. Again, this is a major issue due to the effects of climate change. There's a lot of coastal erosion going on all the 186 islands. So we have to protect these islands. So over the last 4 years, we have been able to protect about actually that figure is wrong. We have been able to protect 30 kilometers of coastal protection on several islands. And this is very much, it's important that if we don't protect these islands, then it will actually inundate at high tides and destroys the infrastructure of the island. So this is what we have been doing. Before it was not much importance was given to protecting islands, especially the inhabited bigger large infrastructure islands. It was not done. So over the last 4 years, we have been able to protect 30 kilometers of coastal protection, similar to. So what you see on the first picture is that how the damage or the erosion, and then how this is what we if you look at this, how the island when it's protected looks like. And then some of the environmental conservation areas which I would like to share is that over the last 4 years we were able to protect turtles. All the turtles in Maldivian waters are protected now. All types of rays in Maldivian waters are protected, and we have a biosphere reserve that is very popular, and which you can see all these now protected mammals and fishes, and it's very popular, and this is something that we are very proud of. And on the climate change, as you know, Maldives is very a vocal country on the issues of climate change, and we have been the chair of Alliance of Small Island States over the last 4 years, and to the run-up of during the Paris 2015 Paris Agreement during December, the whole year we were working with all the small island states to make sure that all our voices are heard. And what you see in the Paris Agreement is that what most of the issues that the small islands raised, the voice that was raised is well reflected in the Paris Agreement. So Maldives has been very vocal on the issues of climate change, and over the last 2 years we have been again having an initiative called Initiative for Renewable Island Energy, where Maldives is spearheading to help small nations on developing renewable energy projects. So that's where we are, and I think I will I'll stop now and give you the floors for any questions. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
There was a plan earlier, which I read long ago, a package for Maldivians to buy land abroad, in Europe, Australia, as part of this,
climate change.
Yeah, climate change.
Yeah.
So people can plan it early, and they can migrate the land there. Is that a real thing? Or is it
No.
happening? Is there such a fund for that?
No, that was President Nasheed in his during his presidency. It's on one of the conferences he just told that there was no plan, and we don't intend to move. And as you see, Maldives, the way we are doing our infrastructure, when you go to Hulumale tomorrow, and if you go to when you go to the eastern side of Malé today in the afternoon, you will see how we are planning, how we are adapting for the effects of climate change. So whatever we do it better, and we do it with the adaptation, keeping in mind the adaptation, how we can adapt to the effects of climate change for the the inundation and also the high swells. So we are doing all this and we are doing a lot of effort. We are making a lot of effort to make sure the islands are protected with rock boulders and other methods. So actually we have no intention to move to another country. We are going to stay, and we will have our own adaptation measures. And we are now building also safer islands with better planned cities. If we will see it tomorrow when you go to Hulumale.
You should plan some land for us.
Sure. Yeah. Any other questions?
Is there any data you have regarding the infrastructure investment? Which are the countries leading in terms of infrastructure investment in Maldives?
Thank you very much. Actually, the Maldives gets assistance from various organizations for the infrastructure development. For example, one of the main donors is Islamic Development Bank, IDB. We are on the verge of completing one of the harbor development projects funded by IDB across many countries, many islands across the country. Saudi Fund is one of the other main donor agencies for the Maldives. The picture that was shown a while ago with the solar panels fixed in the biggest solar panel roof the minister mentioned is the hospital project in the very south. That is funded by Saudi Fund and co-funded by Saudi Fund and OPIC, OPIC Fund, OFID Fund. OPEC Fund for International Development, OFID. We also get a lot of assistance from ADB. We are about to embark on the largest residential harbour project in any island across the Maldives in the very north, in Kurudufushi Island, funded by ADB, Grant Aid Fund. So there are so many donor agencies, and we get a lot of assistance from the Indian government. And we get a lot of assistance from, we also get assistance from French government. We have completed a lot of harbours with assistance from French aid and also US aid. We have completed some some road projects and so on. And so we get a lot of aid from different agencies and from the different funding agencies. And one of the housing projects that has been recently completed was Exim Finance from Indian government, and also we get some assistance from Exim Finance from the Chinese government. So it's a well mixed, it's a wide range of assistance that the Maldives government get, and also the Japanese government used to give a lot of assistance, the biggest donor when we were in the LCD.
But in terms of, if you take countries, can we say that China is among the top that invested more in infrastructure?
I think a lot of countries are giving a lot of assistance to the government and to the people of Maldives. And we are very thankful for all the friendly countries who give a lot of assistance to us. The Saudi government also give a lot of assistance. A lot of Arab Islamic countries, the Kuwait Fund, and also the UAE are recently giving so much assistance to develop our airport and other infrastructure. So there's so many countries who are helping us a lot for the development.
But among these countries, who is the leading investor?
I think so many countries are giving us so much assistance, and we are ever so thankful for all the countries who are assisting us.
I think if I may, I think like in my sector, the water and sewerage systems, if you look at, we take grant assistance and loan assistance is there. So as Minister Moise said, we have loan assistance from OFID, that is the OPEC fund, and we have loan assistance from Kuwait Fund. We have loan assistance from Islamic Development Bank. We have loan assistance from French Development Fund, and also for the coastal protection systems, we have been getting grant assistance from Climate Fund. We are getting a grant assistance from Netherlands Oreo Fund. So it's not only the Chinese or there's no particular. I think if you look at it, it's overall. If you look at the whole development holistically, it's a mix of. I think all the funds, if you look at in detail, it will be just in general. It will be distributed the same. You know.
At least could you specify these two major projects? The road, the bridge connecting two islands, and the 10,000 family housing project.
I think if you look at the roads, Hulumale, I think Mr. Said was telling about that. On the new development, all the roads are being developed by an Indian company. All the roads are, when you go tomorrow, all the yeah, that is by it is by from, and the bridge of course is a Chinese loan and Chinese assistance, but the roads are Indian companies who are doing that at the moment. Housing also, I think similarly, I think if you can.
Yeah, the road project in Hulumale is funded by the Indian Exim Bank. And the housing projects that we have completed so far are a mixture of both Indian and Chinese Exim Bank. And a lot of other development projects are mainly by Indian government aid. For example, the IGMH hospital is one of the main donor assistance projects by the Indian government. And so we have many friendly countries who are very close to the Maldives and helping the people of Maldives in their development journey.
Former President Nasheed accuses several oil drilling projects are approved and it will impact environment. What's your reply?
That's not true. There's, I mean,
Maldives
this government
selling oil to North Korea too.
No. First part of the question is whether this government has given oil drilling projects. No, it is not true. What has been done is for every country, it's for us to see what resources we have. So likewise, we were looking at whether there is the possibility of any hydrocarbons or any fuel is available. So those kind of research has been done, was done in the Maldives, and I'm sure it will be done in the future as well, and the results will be coming. But there's no such permission or such approval given to any other party on this issue of oil.
Is there any research happening on marine hydrocarbons? As you just said,
Yeah.
research happening on marine hydrocarbons?
We did
Secret drilling?
not. Yeah, we did some time ago. Not now.
Do you have the wherewithal, as in the scientific? Is there a tie-up with somebody?
I think the scientific results are there. That details still we yet to get the details.
Maldives does not support North Korea, right?
What do you mean?
Nasheed accuses.
Yeah.
North Korea.
North Korea. That's it.
North
North
Korea
Korea. No.
Thank you for that. I think it's very important. Thank you for being here and clarifying details. I think the government has been very clear with our alignment with UN and other international organizations. The government has been very clear with our stand on a number of these countries. And that has been made very clear numerous times as well. And the commitment of the government and the alignment with the international standards and observations have also been tested time again, and it has been made very clear. And at the same time, I think it's very important for journalists as well as other countries to engage with us and engage with Maldives and make these ideas and these rumors and these allegations very clear. So the government has made very clear our stand on this. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Must be tired.
Yeah. So since there's no more questions, as Minister of Health, Nazim has invited you to come and see the new hospital this afternoon. I think we would like to still request you to go and see the hospital, and then also I will have a good view on top because that's the tallest building in Male, 25 stories. You'll have a good view and see around what's happening all of Male and Male region. And with that, I would like to thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll have a good tour today and tomorrow. And once again, thank you very much for coming to Maldives. Thank you.
මිමිහුන් හිමායකොන් අබදු මිනිහුන්න තෝය විෆාරි කුරුම්ගේ ෆුර්සතොති
eta gune miha rimarakulu huddanaagada ginavech homme duwaha kohen ebade a farattan gege hadam ei farattaka midenne gota fursat libi fotima
mi fasar terega iktisadi goton hasil kuram beenum villanu dandi hasil kurevunto adi kobato hasil kuram beenum villanu dandi
විජලාදනුගා වර බොඩති කන්දත්තගේ රාජ්‍ය කොද්දේ ඉරුගා ඒ චයිනාගේ පරාතුන් හොන්න ඩිමාන්ඩ් තයි කොබෑතෝ
දිවේරාජ තරග්ගී කුරා ගොතකි දුනිය බදා ගන්නකම් මිත් තසව්වර කිලඹ කුරම් මීඩියාගේ බේණුම් හිෆෑගෙන් බයක් කුරා මසක්කත අලුවන් මේ රද්ද දිනුමකි බුර මසක්කත එහෙන්නම අලුවන් මගේ පොසිෂන් වර සාෆ එංගේක
ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ರಂಗಳು ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಪೂರಿಹಮ ಕವರೇಜ್ ಗೆಣಿಸ್ತೇಣಿ ಆಳ್ಗೊಂಡ್ಮೆ ಅಳುಗೊಂಡುಗೆ ಟೀಮ್ ತಯ್ಯಾರು
ಲಿಪ್ತಕ್ಕೆ ಹವಾಸಾಯನ್ ಬೇರುಗೆ ವಾಹಕತಕಾಯ ರಹ ಹೇವರು ಕವರೇಜ್ ಕ ಅಳ್ಮೆನ್ ತಯ್ಯಾರು ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ ಗವಾದಕೂರ ಟೀಮ್ ತೋಗೆ ತಯ್ಯಾರಿ ತಕ ಮಂಜರ್ ತಕ ಎಕಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ತ ಆಳ್ಗೊಂಡ್ಮೆಂಗೆ ಕವರೇಜ್
ತಜ್ರುಬಾಕಾರ ಅನಲಿಸ್ಟುಂಗೆ ಎದುರು ಮಾಲೂಮಾತ್ ಮುಸ್ಸಂದಿ ಜುವಾನ್ ಕುರಿಮಾವ್ಗೆ ಅನಲಿಸ್ಟುಂ ಅಳ್ಗೊಂಡ್ಮೆನ್ ತಾರಫ್ ಕುರಾಣಂ
ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ ಕ ದಿವೆಹಿಲ್ಲಗ ಫೋರಿ ಅಳ್ಗೊಂಡ್ಮೆನ್ ಎ ಫೋರಿಗ ಗೆಣಿಸ್ತೇನೆ
डेजन्स के हुरिहा गिनतिया का बट्टन कुरेफावा शोता गेनिस्तिनमुगा पीएसएम स्पोर्ट्स के तजुर्बाकार टीम को अल्गोनवस मीरी था